This episode of Liquor and Literature deals with depictions of racism, physical abuse, sexual assault, incest, abortion, transphobia, and sexism. We strive to discuss these issues in ways that will not alienate or suppress others, but will be covering themes that may not be suitable for children. Also, cuss words are a part of our regular vocabulary, and drinks will be had, so keep that in mind if you are sensitive to liquored up loudmouths. Liquor and Literature, a podcast, a book club, and a happy hour. My name is Lauren.
I'm Amber.
And I'm Sam.
Welcome to our show. Heads up, we always have a spoiler alert because we're literally talking about a book. So if you would rather pause and read that book and then get back to us, that's fine. Or if you don't care, just keep on listening. But there will be spoilers for both a book and some movie adaptations. So just a heads up on that. And this month we are covering The Color Purple, which was my pick for the month. And the reason why I picked it was because I had never read it or watched the movie. And I really didn't know that much about it other than Whoopi Goldberg and Oprah were in the movie. So I was like, you know what? Let's just dive in and read that book. And I don't think you two had read it either, right?
I'd never read it. I'd never seen the movie.
Same.
I wanted to. It was on my list of things to do. It just never had happened.
Yeah, I just remember growing up, it was The Color Purple. The original movie was always on cable.
It was pretty highly touted at the time, too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I was actually... We'll get into it, but I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked this book, so.
I did too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So why don't we get into the drink pairing, Sam? What did you concoct for us this month?
So this month, we have the Purple Passion. So we're in a different direction that we have in the past. We're doing gin this time. It's the Empress 1906 Indigo Gin. And just a fun fact, the reason why it is the color it is because they use butterfly pea plant tea.
He said butterfly pea, and I was like, what? I looked at you like, what the?
I was wondering why you were reacting so strongly.
You wait around patiently.
Okay, all right. You know what? Now I don't feel so bad about my earlier derp moment.
About the wireless bras?
Lauren was talking about wireless bras, and I was thinking she was talking about Wi-Fi and bras, and I was just like having a moment, and now we're even. Okay.
We're even. I was like, wait, what? Butterfly pea.
No, it's this beautiful, it's an actual pea plant, so... You know, like your peas, you shuck peas. So it has this glorious, like, blue, purple flower. And it's like a nice vining thing. But you make tea out of the flower. And it has this, like, beautiful color, right? And you can also use it to dye clothes. So it's kind of a cool little thing. So that's what gives the color to that gin. And it also has grapefruit juice. I use grapefruit liqueur by Gifford and lime juice. So it's 2 ounces Empress Indigo Gin, 1.5 ounce of grapefruit juice, 3/4 ounces of the Gifford Pamplemousse liqueur, or you can use grapefruit syrup. That's the original recipe, but I just like to make it a little bit more boozy. And then 1 ounce of lime juice. For the mocktails, you can basically do the same thing, except for I would maybe use the Seedlip Grove. I think 42 is the number. The Seedlip gins have numbers attached to them.
Oh, okay.
So they have like a name, like the Grove, so it's more citrusy, and then they have like a number, and I think it's 42. I can't remember. Whatever. We'll have the link, so it's fine. And then you can make grapefruit syrup. It's basically a grapefruit infused simple syrup. Like I said, I like to make mine a little bit more boozy. So, and then, it'll just be pretty similar, except it might have a little bit more of an orange hint to it since the Grove is more orangey. But, yeah, it's pretty... I mean, it's a pretty color. It's like a pinkish purple. So that's, goes great with the name of the book, right? But it also kind of goes with the book because it's a little bit sour, it's a little bit sweet, and then it all melds together into this really nice subtle flavor on the back of your tongue. So, and I think like that's a good description of the book too.
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good like summery drink, even though we are
In the
thick
dead of winter.
January right now. I don't know if people know, but we record these way in advance. So it is
-1 out right now.
Yeah, when I woke up this morning it was -7, but now it's -1 and it's snowing outside, and we're pretending like it's summertime. So
Yeah.
I don't care for gin, and I actually really enjoy this drink. It's a nice pairing for the book too.
It's not like the indigo gin. It's really nice because it's not like a typical gin that people think of, which is more of like a London dry, which is very more juniper taste, has a lot stronger of a taste, where this is a lot more mellow of a gin.
Gin usually reminds me a little of a perfume. Like it's very floral
see that.
in essence. And this isn't that. It's very tart. It's almost like
The
Sour
grapefruit.
Patch Kitty, but with a different aftertaste, and it's very nice.
Oh, and Amber loves Sour Patch
I do
Kids.
love Sour Patch. They're my
She
favorite.
does this weird thing. Didn't Marcia come up with it? Your daughter, where you mix, if you make popcorn, you put Sour Patch Kids in it. And you eat popcorn with Sour Patch Kids.
She's making it better.
Little salty, little sweet, little
That's
sour.
what she said the first time that she ever did that. She was putting Sour Patch Kids in the popcorn, and my husband was just like taken aback. He was totally aghast with it. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And she says, "I'm making it better." And I took a big fistful of it and was like, she is not wrong. This girl's going places.
So cute.
I'll tell you what, actually, you have a bunch of Milk Duds on your counter.
Yes.
Sarah and I used to add Milk Duds to our popcorn when we worked at the movie theater.
Oh.
It
I can
softens
see
them
that.
up, so they're not as hard. And it's delicious.
Softens them up. Like,
Yeah.
oh, because the popcorn's
popcorn's
warm.
warm.
Oh, that makes
Mhm.
sense. Interesting. Yeah, because they are kind of, I do like Milk Duds, but they're very,
Yeah, they're
like,
it's like a rabbit.
yeah, like your teeth are like, oh my god. I'm yanking my teeth out of the roof, you know? Anyway, this is not a candy podcast. So.
Sorry for the
No,
intrusion.
I
but-
was the one that did that.
Yep.
So
Please do add candy to your popcorn and let us know what you think.
yeah.
Oh, I guess I should also say when you make this drink, you put it all into your shaker, shake, and then pour.
Yes.
No ice needed in the drink itself. The cup is a coupe. Just put your ice in your shaker, and it's good.
Okay.
That's really all it is. It's a pretty simple drink to make.
All right. Amber, why don't we talk about the author of The Color Purple?
Well, okie dokie. So Alice Walker
Here
was
we go.
born in Eatonton, Georgia, to Willie Lee Walker and Minnie Tallulah Grant. Her parents were sharecroppers, and her mom also worked as a seamstress.
That explains a lot.
Alice was shot in the right eye with a BB gun and is permanently blind in that eye due to a barrier, receiving immediate care.
That
Oh,
also
shit.
explains something else.
She attended Butler Baker High School, which was the only high school available to black students in the area at the time. She was valedictorian and enrolled in Spelman College in 1961 on a full scholarship from the state of Georgia.
Again, explains something.
She met Martin Luther King Jr. while she was a student at Spelman College, and she took part in the 1963 March on Washington. She volunteered to register black voters in Georgia and Mississippi, and then she transferred to the Sarah Lawrence College in Yonkers, New York, after being offered another scholarship.
Fans.
She became pregnant in her senior year, and she had an abortion. Much of the poetry in Once, her first collection of poetry, was inspired by this experience and the depression following it. She graduated from Sarah Lawrence College in 1965. I feel like we need to just talk about that was a really big deal. Like, getting an abortion at that time was unheard
What
of.
time was it? What year?
It was
Like
in the 60s,
yeah.
like this, yeah. She did this in her senior year, so 64, 65 era.
Yeah.
So getting an abortion at that time was unheard of. She is a black woman getting an abortion.
Yes.
And granted, this is in New York, where hopefully they're a little more open-minded at that time, but still.
Well, when was
Yeah.
Roe versus Wade? Like, when did that?
I'm not actually sure.
I think it was kind of around that time, actually.
Maybe.
But either way, like,
But
if
it's
she was
still
living in New
pretty-
York, it might have been a legal abortion. Not that it matters, but you know.
Probably
what I mean.
still was illegal.
Yeah.
Because most states, it's technically illegal now.
Here's some messed up stuff coming your way.
Oh, yay.
In 1967, Alice married a Jewish civil rights lawyer named Mel Leventhal. Interracial marriage was still illegal in Georgia at that time. So they obviously didn't get married in Georgia, but like, that's crazy to think about, that in 1967, interracial marriage was still illegal in Georgia. That's crazy.
Before you go on, it was passed in 1973, so
it was an illegal
60s,
abortion,
yep.
yeah. Wow.
So yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Anyway, Alice was not allowed to attend Leventhal's family events.
Is it because she wasn't Jewish, or is it because
the mom did not approve of the interracial marriage?
Because I know that if you're not actually Jewish, there's
issues there sometimes too,
Yeah.
but this was more related to the fact that, unfortunately. This marriage ended in 1976. I feel like that was probably doomed from the start. They had a daughter together named Rebecca. Rebecca has actually publicly denounced her mother for being neglectful during her childhood.
Damn.
Alice and Rebecca have not spoken in years. While a majority of Alice Walker's relationships have been with men, she definitely had a relationship with Tracy Chapman in the mid-90s.
Singer.
Yep. She did not remarry and only has the one child, Rebecca. Alice briefly worked for New York City's Department of Welfare before returning to the South. She took a job working for the Legal Defense Fund of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in Jackson, Mississippi. She was also a consultant in Black history to the Friends of the Children of Mississippi Head Start program. She started writing again as a writer in residence at Jackson University from 1968 to 1969, then Tougaloo College, 1970 to 1971. She published her first novel, The Third Life of Grange Copeland, in 1970. In 1982, The Color Purple was published, which was a bestseller. She received a Pulitzer Prize in 1983 for this novel. The Color Purple movie adaptation came out in 1985 and was adapted again, just very recently, in 2023 as a musical. In 2003, on International Women's Day, she was arrested at a protest outside the White House for crossing a police line during an anti-war rally for the Iraq War. Walker is not without controversial ties. She has been accused of being anti-Semitic. 2 lines from her 2017 poem, It is our frightful duty to study the Talmud, states, Our goyim, us, meant to be slaves of Jews, and not only that, but to enjoy it. As well as, I recommend starting with YouTube. Simply follow the trail of the Talmud as its poison belatedly winds its way into our collective consciousness. She has promoted the ideas of David Icke, author and The Truth Shall Set You Free, who suggests Jewish people helped pay for the Holocaust themselves, though he also indicates the Holocaust may not have happened at all.
What?
And says that the KKK is secretly Jewish. Icke is the very same author that has accused Jews, among others, of being alien lizard people. Disclaimer.
QAnon. Jeez.
Disclaimer. Wow. This individual's name is spelled I-C-K-E, which is probably Ike. However, if your last name is this, we don't want you associated with us in any way, shape, or form. We think this guy is icky, and so we have called him Ick.
Your name is Ick, sir.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Your beliefs are horrible.
Alice has described Ick's work as a curious person's dream come true. She has refused to allow a Hebrew translation of The Color Purple.
So it makes me wonder, just to stop you for a second, since she was previously married to a Jewish person.
I think it left a bad taste in her mouth.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Just because one person has done something bad to you does not mean that the race of that person
you can't condemn
is
a whole population of
entirely
people.
bad.
Yeah.
I think that her husband did not stand up for her, and that she, for whatever reason, chose to condemn an entire population of people for his terrible feelings. Like,
You know
his
what's also interesting
things.
is Steven Spielberg directed the original movie, and he also was a producer on the new one, and he's Jewish. And
oh yeah.
that seems weird. That like,
I don't know that her beliefs became that well known until more recently.
yeah, I think it's more recent. Yeah,
It's been more recent.
It's also very possible. I know with film sometimes, unless the author has like the rights still and has like a really strong like presence when making the film, a lot of the times they don't really have much dealing with author.
Well, she was also a writer. She wrote the screenplay for, I think both, but I know for a fact the original. She
Okay.
wrote.
Yeah.
She helped
So I
write the
wasn't for
screenplay,
sure
and
if
I
she
know
had
she's a
anything.
producer on the new one.
Okay. I
So,
didn't pay attention.
like-
I'm not gonna
I don't know. Either way, I
Yeah.
think it's kind of weird.
It's
that,
just
like,
interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, I don't know, weird.
Yeah. She also has supported J.K. Rowling's transphobic statements that
Boo.
that
Fuck
trans
you.
people exist because we use the word guy in a gender neutral way. She states that by attacking Rowling, we are falling victim to a sinister movement to erase the word woman from language. She implies that gender neutral language is responsible for gender confusion in children.
I also
Think
find it
that-
weird that she's anti-trans because The Color Purple has, and I'm sure a lot of her other books, and she dated a woman.
Yeah,
She's
at least
so
she
it's
clear,
doesn't
like-
want to
yeah.
put labels on that though. There is like a thing where she's like, I don't want to label that though.
Okay, but I'm sorry, but you're at least queer if you have had
Agreed.
relationships with someone of the same sex. You may not necessarily be a lesbian, but you are at least queer.
Yeah. So I mean, it gets really weird there of her, like her feelings and thoughts with that because I'm just like, I don't know how you can think this way
but then
and
do
be
this.
accepting of all of these things and all of this and then just like completely like
the other way with other beliefs. Yeah.
it's like you
It's one of those things where we didn't
it just irritates me.
Amber mentioned to us like a week or two ago, she's like, I found some shit out about Alice Walker. We're like, really? Like, I was kind of shocked, but it's like, you know.
Because she's an activist and she
Yeah,
did all these
that's why I was so shocked.
she did some really badass shit and she's also a shithead.
Yeah.
Happens.
And you can be both things sometimes. You can do amazing things and be a shitty person.
Yeah, true.
Just because you are standing up for one positive thing doesn't mean that you're always in the right and always a good person. And
Well, with that, why don't we dive into the book? And,
which was good.
Yeah,
The
the
book
book
is
was
good.
really good.
It is very good.
So, yeah. I think, okay, first off, I started reading this book at it was like 5:30 in the morning at the Denver airport because I was like, I go to airports way earlier than I should before my flight. Got there really early. And I just busted open the book. I'm like, okay, I got like hours to read. And I was like, I was like, oof, this is a heavy book to be reading at 5:30 in the morning. But I really like how it's written because basically the whole book is written from the main character, Celie's perspective. And she's basically writing letters to God. You know, it's very personal. And right off the bat, she talks about how
Some tough shit.
her dad basically molests her and she's 14 years old. And I was not expecting, like, I didn't know anything about the book. I know it was sad, but right off the bat, first page, she talks about that.
And you're like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah.
Oh, also, this takes place in like the early 1900s in Georgia. And I kind of wanted to look up, like, because, you know, I know history stuff, but not like specifically. So I kind of Googled like when Reconstruction was because I wanted to know like the context of that. And Reconstruction started in December 8th, 1863. So this is not that much later than that. So that gives us a little context of like what's going on in Georgia right after Reconstruction, basically. Her mom passed away, and we don't know exactly what she passed away from,
she
right?
was just sick.
Sound like she kind of wasted away, like she either had cancer or tuberculosis or something like that.
This is last spring after little Lucius come. I heard them fussing. He was pulling on her arm. She said, "It's too soon, Fonzo. I'm not well." Finally, he left her alone. A week goes by. He's pulling on her arm again. She said, "No, I'm not gonna. Can't you see I'm already half dead? And all of these children." So to me, it
Maybe
almost
she
sounded
was-
like
Had a loss of blood and a hemorrhaging, and she's
something. She had a lot of
Something.
kids, and then he was trying to go after her already. Like, as soon as she just had a kid, he's already trying to go after her.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not a time that you really want to have relations.
Yeah.
Putting it politely.
Yeah, putting it politely. And so basically she ends up leaving for a week to go visit her sisters because I think she just needed a break from this guy. It sounds like he's kind of after her all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes it out on Celie and starts going after her instead because, well, she's there. And I really think that's what that was about, is she's there.
Yeah.
And helpless.
Yep, and helpless. And he gets her pregnant twice.
Yes.
She
and takes both babies away, and she doesn't know if he killed them.
Well, he
or...
insinuates that he killed at least one of them.
Which is fucked
I
up.
gave it to God.
Yep.
I took it out in the woods and I gave it to God.
Yeah.
Yep.
He insinuates that he killed them. She said she thought that he sold the second one. But yeah, he starts raping her from the time that she's very young.
Mm-hmm.
And she's kind of a martyr from a young age. There's a point in time where she actually sacrifices herself to try and keep him off of her sister.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had not, to her knowledge, messed with Nettie at all.
Right.
At that point.
And he started eyeballing Nettie because she's getting a little bit older, I guess. And so Celie runs in and puts on like a feather boa and high heels and dresses all up in rouge and everything else. And he basically calls her a whore and then goes after her anyway. And she manages to keep him off her sister. But it's still a really horrible concept of, like, she really loves her sister.
Yeah,
she
she does.
murdered herself for her. Celie is she's loyal to the people that she truly loves.
I think she ultimately would have been a really good mother had she had the chance to actually
Yes.
raise children, because she
I
was
agree.
just motherly in general to
It was
a
so
lot of people.
funny to me that she was so like, she was like, I don't love Harpo, which is like her inherited, like it's her stepson basically. But she treats him really good for not loving him. She treated him pretty well like you would a son.
Well, it
with
took a
few
while. There was a
exceptions.
growing pains.
There
between that,
was.
Which we will actually, let's get into that.
But
so,
that's like a babies raising babies
Yes.
situation.
It was. I
'cause
mean,
she's
they weren't
14
that
fucking
far
years
apart.
old. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yep. So, this man, who's probably as old as their dad, finds interest in Nettie.
Yeah.
And he goes to their pa, and because that's what they call him, pa. He never has an actual name.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I find interesting about this is a lot of the men in this book don't have actual names unless they have a good relationship with Celie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this man is just called Mr. Blank for like the first half of the book.
Yeah. Mister. That's
Mr.
what they,
yeah. Well,
He's
in the book it
just
says
Mr.
Blank, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
Mr. and
it's
like
just
movie
Mr.
and stuff.
The whole entire book, because even at the very end, it's still Mr. Blank. It's
Yes.
not Albert. You know,
Yeah.
it's very rarely Albert, and it's
Yeah.
usually only when Suge
Suge
is
says
talking
it.
about him.
Yes. So,
I think she said Albert a few more times at the end.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of it was still
After
like Mr.,
reparations are made, yeah.
Yeah, Pa sells Celie to Albert, basically, who we know as Mr. right now. And I just wanted to read like her introduction to that family. She said, I spent my wedding day running from the oldest boy. He's 12. His mama died in his arms, and he don't want to hear nothing about no new one. He pick up a rock and laid my head open. The blood run all down between my breasts. His daddy say, don't do that, but that's all he say. He got 4 children instead of 3, 2 boys and 2 girls. The girls' hair ain't been combed since their mammy died. I tell him I'll just have to shave it off, start fresh. He say bad luck to cut a woman's hair. So after I bandage my head best I can and cook dinner, they have a spring, not a well, and a wood stove look like a truck. I start trying to untangle hair. They only 6 and 8 and they cry. They scream. They accuse me of murder. By 10 o'clock, I'm done. They cry themselves to sleep, but I don't cry. I lay there thinking about Nettie while he on top of me. Wonder if she's safe. And then I think about Suge Avery. I know what he's doing to me. He done to Suge Avery. And maybe she like it. I put my arm around him.
So, we haven't really talked about Suge Avery yet. This is another character that is actually only introduced as a picture at this point.
Yes.
So, Suge Avery is Albert's love interest, if we're being real about it.
Mhm.
He's been in love with her since he was a kid. And there's all these rumors circulating about Albert and Shug. There's a description of that photo, and it was the first time that I was like, this is a very interesting way to describe another woman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It says, Shug Avery was a woman, the most beautiful woman I ever saw. She's more pretty than my mama. She about 10,000 times more prettier than me. I see her there in furs, her face rouge, her hair like something tail. She grinning with her foot on top of somebody's motor car. Her eyes serious, though. Sad some. All night long I stare at that picture, and now when I dream of Shug Avery. She be dressed to kill, whirling and laughing. So it's just a picture, and she's got in her mind already made up this idea of what this woman is.
Mm-hmm.
And...
But she wasn't wrong. That's the
She wasn't
Well,
wrong.
because
funny thing.
did we say Shug Avery is like this like glamorous singer, like jazz singer, basically?
She is a glamorous jazz singer,
Who
but she doesn't seem very glamorous when we first actually meet her.
And that quote that I read we didn't touch on what happened to Albert's first wife. So basically he was cheating on his wife with Shug Avery, right?
He always was with Shug,
And
but
then someone ended up killing his wife.
So, no, his wife was having an affair on the side as well. Maybe. It was kind of like murky there.
Yeah.
I think she was, and he's the one that killed her.
That's what they say. Like, they don't have proof, but they're thinking that Albert killed his wife.
But there's like a point where Harpo discusses it because
Yes.
Harpo was there.
It seemed to me like the guy she was messing with was the one that killed her, not
It
Albert.
was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Harpo was there, and he was trying to drag her off.
Yeah.
And he shot her and killed her, and she died in Harpo's arms.
Yeah.
And he, like Lauren just said, he was like 12 years old when Celie became his mom, which they're like of an age. They're almost the same age, if not the same age. And yeah, he had just watched his mom die very recently.
Yeah, I remember highlighting that quote, but I can't find it right now. But yeah, I was the details were always a little murky because it was like kind of like one of those like things around town that people gossiped about. So you don't know all the details. But yeah, basically Albert's first wife was murdered by a man that she was cheating on Albert with.
Yeah.
But then Albert also had Shug and him used to have a thing, and then he didn't end up marrying her or anything.
Because his daddy didn't let him.
Yeah, but he still like loves her, whatever. So he has all these pictures of her, and that's why Celie is like seeing these pictures of her on the nightstand.
Yep.
And kind of getting a crush on her.
Yeah.
As we find out later.
So then, shortly after all of that stuff with the kids, Nettie actually comes to stay because Pa did try and go after her. And she said, I can't live there. I'm not going to do all that. No. And she moved in with Mr. and Celie. And of course...
How'd that turn out?
Mr.'s like...
Not a good time.
He's a creep!
Yeah. Mr.'s after Nettie.
Yep. Was always originally after her.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And basically, like, he keeps complimenting Nettie, and Nettie just in turn looks over at Celie and says, your teeth are so pretty. Your hair is so nice. Like, he's saying all these things to Nettie, and then she just pays it back in turn to Celie.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so cute.
I thought it
Nettie
was.
to do. Because
I
it's
did
like,
too.
that's one thing about Celie is she doesn't love herself.
She
like,
doesn't.
and you see it
Ever.
throughout the book. Like, she just thinks she's so ugly and stupid. It's like, no, you're not. You've just been treated as such, so you
You've
don't
just
know
been
anything
told
else.
that.
Well, it wasn't
Yeah.
until she was much older that she had any kind of semblance of that at all. That kind of like emotional respect and giving, that she's actually getting it back. And it just didn't happen when
Yep.
she was younger.
Oh, here's the conversation. Whenever Albert's like complimenting Nettie. That's a really pretty dress you got on, he say to Nettie. She say, thank you. Them shoes look just right. She say, thank you. Your skin, your hair, your teeth. Every day it's something else to make my ration over. First she smile a little, then she frown, then she don't look no special way at all. She'd just stick close to me. She'd tell me, your skin, your hair, your teeth. He'd try to give her a compliment. She'd pass it on to me. After a while, I get to feeling pretty cute. Soon he stopped. He'd say one night in bed, well, us done helped Nettie out as much as we can. Now she got to go. Where's she going to go, I ask. I don't care, he say. So basically, she refused to sleep with him. So he's like, okay, you got to get out of my house because you're refusing to sleep with me.
Yeah. And then Nettie says, I sure hate to leave you here with these rotten children, not to mention with Mister. It's like seeing you buried. And Celie's response is, it's worse than that. If I was buried, I wouldn't have to work. But I just say, never mind, never mind. Long as I can spell G-O-D, I got somebody along. And then they send Nettie off. And she, before she goes, Celie insists that she writes. And Celie says, nothing but death can keep me from it. And after that, Celie says she never writes.
Yeah.
So
we don't see or hear from Nettie for quite a while in the book. But
we'll
she
get
does
to
come
why
back.
later. Yeah, we'll get to why later. It's sad.
Oh, we should also talk about how Celie's out like buying groceries one day and she runs into a woman and a child and she recognizes the child as one of her kids.
Yeah.
So that's the point where she realizes, oh, Pa didn't kill the babies. He gave them away.
Yeah.
And that interaction, I couldn't even imagine what that would feel like.
Horrible.
Seeing your child with another woman.
That'd be really
and knowing
hard.
it is your child,
and
but
that
not
you
being able to
wanted
do
your
anything.
child.
Yes.
And that you wanted your child.
Hard, but also like, oh, thank God. Like
That they're
Yes.
there, that
Yeah.
they're safe, that someone loves them.
Yeah.
So she sees that this lady walking around town with her kids. She actually has a brief interaction with her, finds out who she is, and that's actually who she tells Nettie to go find when she sends her away.
Yep.
And Nettie does go seek them out.
Because she is like the wife of a pastor in town, another black couple, and
The Reverend.
Yeah, the Reverend. So we will find out more about them later. But that's kind of like a little teaser into
that
storyline. But it's also nice to know that both of her children are actually alive. But it also sucks that she cannot be their mom. Like, that's so fucked up.
But she obviously very desperately wanted to be.
And it's just also like, I remember, I have the exact quote, but she was like, I could see me in her and I could see my dad in her, which is like, that's fucked up. Like,
yeah.
You know?
I also just found it really interesting because I feel, and I don't know this from personal experience or anything, but it seems like a lot of people from, rape that have children don't necessarily want anything to do with their children.
Yeah.
That are born.
Which I could completely understand.
Yep. But she wanted them. She didn't care. She just was that motherly, and I that's something that's pretty profound, I think. Especially as the story continues to go along.
Yep. She was just a very loving person.
Yeah. I really like Celie's character. Like,
I do too.
She's just...
She's got that like it's like a deep inner strength that she isn't even
doesn't
aware
even know.
of.
Yeah. And then you slowly see her bloom.
Yeah.
And it's like,
because
fuck
she
yeah.
doesn't seem very strong for a while. She seems like somebody who just kind of...
She's been beaten down since she was born.
She just kind of takes all of the abuse that she gets and she does it.
I think there's a very silent strength though, and people that can just take it and take it and take it and then turn it around and make it into something that's theirs and gain power from it. So, and she definitely is a great example of that. So,
Yeah.
So Shug ends up coming back home because she's sick, quote unquote, which...
She is just drastically
she's just off a bender. Yeah, that's really, I think, what it was.
I thought maybe she was jaundiced, but I reread that page today, and no, her face wasn't yellow. She was wearing yellow powder, which is different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember us talking about that. Like, does she have liver problems?
Yeah, maybe
sense.
she was jaundiced a little bit.
So Shug Avery comes back to Albert, and she ends up staying with them, and Celie kind of nurses her back to health. And there's like this scene where Shug is getting a bath, and she's like, oh, I need you to come in and give me a bath. Like, because, you know, like, she's like, I don't want to give myself a bath. You need to give me a bath. So Celie goes in there and gives her a bath, and
that's after she fucking called her ugly the first time she
Yeah,
saw her,
she
and
was
then
kinda
laughed.
mean.
She was. I was like, damn.
Celie also made her breakfast, and she's been taking care of her, you know. And Celie says, first time I got the full sight of Shug Avery, long black body with it black plum nipples, looked like her mouth. I thought I had turned into a man. So it's like, okay, she's definitely having some feelings.
Yeah.
Something is finally stirring in there.
Well, it's funny that you say stirring, because then there's another time where she says, the only time I feel something stirring down there is when I think about Shug.
Yeah.
So it's like, woo, she definitely has like a thing for her.
This is later. Under all that powder, her face black as Harpo's, she got a long pointed nose and a big fleshy mouth, lips that look like black plum, eyes big, glossy, feverish, and mean. Like, sick as she is, if a snake crossed her path, she'd kill it. She looked me over from head to foot, then she cackled. Sound like a death rattle. You sure is ugly, she say, like she ain't believed it. So, like, she's mean from the get-go. We don't have a very pretty picture of Shug Avery when she first comes. But, man, Celie is ready to roll out that red carpet for her.
Oh, yeah, she's Twitter-pated.
Yeah, she's so excited that she's there.
She's star-studded. She's like,
Yeah.
because she, you know, heard about Shug Avery her entire life, and then, you know, she finally gets to meet her, you know. So she's like, hand over foot, just like, I will do whatever you want. Whatever you ask of me.
But one of my favorite quotes is actually on the next page. She's sicker than my mama when she die, but she more evil than my mama, and that keep her alive.
Well, it's true. You gotta be kind of
Have you ever met these people, though, that you're like, they are like the meanest fucking person, and they're like 100 years old?
Yeah, because they're fucking stubborn.
Because they're so stubborn,
Well,
and
and
they're
also,
That
they're
was
like,
my
I'm gonna live out of spite.
and it's also like, you know, it's one of those things where being a strong woman, you're considered a bitch. It's like, it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Which actually goes into who I wanted to introduce next, which is Sophia. Another
Who's my
very
favorite character.
Sophia and Celie are my favorite. Very, like, Sophia and Shug are the most powerful women in this entire fucking book, and they're both such great, strong characters, but they're both considered bitches because they speak their mind and they don't, like, let men boss them around.
Well, later on in the book, the Mr. and Celia are just, they're talking about Shug and Sophia, and they're basically saying, well, he's saying they're like men, and Celia was like, basically like, no, to me they're women. But then they finally kind of agreed that they just do what they want, and they've got that like strength about them, and it just makes them almost both and neither at the same time.
Sophia had to be my favorite character.
She's
in
so
this
good.
book.
So let's talk about
fucking loved her.
Sophia. So basically, Harpo has a girlfriend named Sophia,
He knocks her up.
and he knocks her up. And who wants to go from there on what
I will
interaction?
I will introduce the first impression that we get of her.
Okay.
And that is, they just be marching hand in hand like going to war. She's in front a little. Like, and that's perfect sums up. She's about 7 or 8 months pregnant, about to bust out of her dress. So she's going to have this conversation with Harpo's dad, Mr. And the first thing he says is, it looks like you got yourself into trouble. No, sir, she said. I ain't in no trouble. Big, though. Who's the father? He asked. She looked surprised. Harpo, she say. How he know that? He know, she say. Mister say, no need to think I'm gonna let my boy marry you just 'cause you're in the family way. He young and limited. Pretty gal like you could put anything over on him. She said, what do I need to marry Harpo for? He's still living here with you. What food and clothes he get, you buy. He said, your daddy done throwed you out, ready to live in the street, I guess. She said, nope, I ain't living in the street. I'm living with my sister and her husband, and they say I can live with them for the rest of my life. She stand up, big, strong, healthy girl. And she say, well, nice visiting. I'm going home. Harpo get up to come too. She said, "No, Harpo, you stay here. When you're free, you and the baby, me and the baby be waiting." He sort of hang there between them for a while, and then he sit down again. From the minute she walks in, she controls that room.
Oh, yeah.
And even when it doesn't go her way, she still controls it. She's like, well, this isn't going my way, and I'm going to walk off. And you can stay here because you didn't say boo. Bye.
Mhm.
Yep.
And walks off.
I always found it interesting because Harpo always describes her and her sisters as Amazon, and you know, Amazonian women were battle-hardened women. Like, you know, they stood up for themselves. They fought for what was theirs, and that's exactly. I think it's a great description. I mean, you know, some women wouldn't like to be called Amazons, but like, fuck, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
powerful ass women. I really like Sophia and Harpo's relationship because Harpo actually is a really genuinely nice man.
He's just misled.
And the only reason that him and Sophia even have any kind of relational conflict is because everyone's telling him, yo, you shouldn't let her boss you around. But he was fine with that until people started talking to him about, like, you should let her boss him around and all this fucking patriarchy bullshit.
Yeah, they were
But before
totally
that,
fine.
I mean, I think he kind of liked being bossed around.
I think he did too.
You know?
And he worked hard for her.
And he
Yeah.
loved her.
Yeah.
You could
They
tell.
were the closest thing to an actual love story.
loving
I felt
relationship. Yep.
like in the whole book. Because there's, I mean, yeah, the thing between Shug and Celie is romantic in its own way.
It's a little bit more one-sided, though, I think.
But it is a little more one-sided. I felt like that too. I think it's not totally one-sided.
Yeah.
There is love there, but I felt like the love between Harpo and Sophia was a little bit stronger. It was a little more real. It
Yeah.
was just unfortunately misled. He is young and dumb.
Another
Had
thing
some
I
growing
actually
pains,
just
for
thought
sure.
of too is like since his mom died when he was so young, I wonder if he's like, I need another strong woman figure in my life to
Probably.
take her place.
But he also had his dad and grandpa in his ear, like, you shouldn't let that woman treat you like that. So
Yeah.
he, you know, I don't think he had a problem with her and how she treated him. And it wasn't like she was doing things to just completely humiliate him for no reason. I think she had good reason to like say and do what she did.
She's just
But
her.
he was exactly, and I think he was doubting it because all the other men in his life had such strong hands on their women and didn't let them do anything. Basically, treated them like maids, you know. And he was just like, yeah, and punching bags. It's like, well, what do I do to like? Because that's a normal relationship for him, and what he was having was not what he had normally seen. So he thought it was automatically not normal.
Everybody's telling him it's not normal.
Yeah.
He's never seen a relationship like the one he has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it started to wear on him a little bit. That
It's like finding fault in something that there's no fault in.
yeah.
Well, there's a little interesting part about the book where he starts like eating a lot and he was like gaining weight and stuff. And it's because he was trying to become physically as strong as Sophia.
Yeah.
Which also is kind of comical because it's like he's trying to like get himself ripped so he could stand up to her, you know. Which
But
is
he really
like,
wasn't
that's not
getting
how
ripped,
things
he was
work.
just
getting
He was
chunky.
fat.
Yeah.
He was just getting fat. Yeah. And then so like his
And they
dad,
still tease him about it later in the book, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. So his dad's telling him to put Sophia in her place. And then what I was kind of like, what was Celie actually? Because Harpo goes to Celie and was like, I don't know what to do. And Celie's like telling him to beat her. Which I remember being like, that doesn't seem characteristic of Celie to say. But we find out later that it was because Sophia was jealous, or Celie was jealous about how strong Sophia was.
Yeah.
I said it because I'm a fool. I say it because I'm jealous of you. I say it because you do what I can't.
Yeah.
You fight.
And before that, actually, because Sophia comes and confronts Celie, and it says, she say, all my life I had to fight. I had to fight my daddy. I had to fight my brothers. I had to fight my cousins and my uncles. A girl child ain't safe in a family of men. But I never thought I'd have to fight in my own house. She let out her breath. I loves Harpo, she says. God knows I do, but I'll kill him dead before I let him beat me. Now, if you want a dead son-in-law, you should just keep on advising him like you doing. She put her hand on her hip. I used to hunt game with a bow and arrow, she say. Which I think is she just had to add that little thing.
She's
Be
like, I'll kill a motherfucker.
Yeah. She's tough as nails, Sophia is. And I loved her character because it didn't change, not a lick, throughout the whole book.
Yep. So yeah, her and Celie end up having a conversation, and they kind of mend ways of like, yeah, I did tell him to beat you, but I was in the wrong because I was jealous of you. But Sophia does end up leaving with her kids. She's like, fuck you, Harpo. If you're going to treat me like that, I'm going to fucking leave. And she goes and moves in with her sister for a bit.
Yeah, because he wouldn't stop fighting with her, trying to basically beat her. And she was like, well, I'm going to keep beating you back. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, they were both black and blue all the time. I think his dad was like, where'd you get that? And he's like, a mule kicked me.
Yeah.
In your eyes, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
And your face isn't caved in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it was really funny to me because when she did leave, Celie's like, Harpo, are you just gonna let her go? And I'm sitting here thinking,
what's he gonna do?
what is he gonna do to stop Sophia?
Yeah. She's going to do what she wants.
He already couldn't handle her. What is he gonna do now?
Sophia doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
She already made up her mind.
So yeah, Sophia leaves, and Harpo ends up turning, because there's like a little...
He made a little house on
on the land that he turned into a juke joint, which is basically like a, club, like a jazz
Hooch
club.
house.
Yeah, hooch house.
Which also, one of the reasons why I chose gin for the liquor today is because it does play a part in this book. That was like, back in the day, juke joints, it was either pretty much whiskey or gin that was served. And at one point, when you first meet Sugar Avery in the book, I think it's when she's in the tub, she asks for more giggle juice.
Giggle juice, yeah.
But giggle water is in reference to typically gin or champagne, and giggle juice is usually reference to vodka, apparently.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know. The more you know.
Because I was trying to find a recipe, and nothing really, either I was like, I don't even know what that is, or if I could even find it anymore, or if I could even find it around here. That's another problem.
Yeah, true. Yeah. We don't have as many liquor stores as some of the bigger towns.
So, and I just didn't have time to go into like St. Louis or anything to try and find weird stuff if they even made it anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just went with this one instead.
Giggle juice. Yeah, so Harpo opens up his little juke joint, and Sophia actually, before we go back to Sophia, and he gets Shug to sing at his juke joint.
Which is how he gets so many people to start coming.
Which is
Because it was kind of bad at
successful.
first.
Because his dad was like, you ain't never gonna get anyone come out here. You should have just, planted rice, because it's on a fucking swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in the backwoods. Nobody's going to come out in the middle of nowhere to do this. And it's like, well, that's exactly where you'd want to drink whenever
It's illegal.
it's illegal
Sounds
to drink.
fucking fun to me.
That's
Yeah.
where I'd be going. Sounds like exactly where I want to drink.
Yeah. So I think opening night he has Shug singing, and
It was a few nights after.
A few nights
Because it was
after.
dead after. Like, it was
Yeah.
dead starting out. And he's like, oh, maybe I can get the queen bee to sing.
yeah. And then Celie goes to see her perform, and she says, Lord, I want to go so bad, not to dance, not to drink, not to play cards, not even to hear Shug Avery sing. I just be thankful to lay eyes on her. Which is another like, yeah,
She's crushing
she looking that
curd.
Shug up and
She's like, I
down.
want to see you in all your glory, girl.
Yep. So after Shug starts, singing there, and they get more people, Sophia actually stops by and causes a ruckus.
Because she's with another man.
She's with another man. What's his name?
He's a prize fighter. That's all I remember.
Well, she's with another man, but
Harpo's with another
Harpo's
woman.
with another
Yeah.
woman named Squeak.
Squeak. And Harpo ends up asking Sophia to dance. So they start dancing, but then Squeak gets jealous, and there's a confrontation that happens between Sophia and Squeak.
So funny.
And Sophia ends up punching Squeak in the face.
And Squeak is a very small woman.
As the name implies.
Yeah. And Sophia is just this giant, amazing woman, and Squeak was just very jealous.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, also, Harpo and Sophia are still married. So technically, nobody is in the right here. They both have their outside partners. It's just like, you can't, they they didn't split up because they didn't love each other. They split up because like they couldn't live with each other, you know?
Yeah.
That relationship gets really interesting later anyway, and we'll get into that.
Harkle
Yeah.
and Sophia's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And
we'll get
Squeaks.
into some of that.
Oh, yeah, and Squeak, yeah.
Because that's one of the more interesting dynamics I've ever read
There's
about, I think.
a lot of weird in and outs to everyone's relationship.
Well,
in
that
this
was
book.
one thing I wrote on my notes was like just the many sexual relationships in this book where everyone kind of bebops around between people.
It's almost incestual without being
Incestual.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that high school thing. Like, there was a group of people in our band that did that where it's like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
dating this person, but now we broke up, now I'm dating this person. It's like this circle of friends that just dated each other.
And
They
all
just-
banged each other. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I didn't have sex in high school. Because I was like, no, ain't
No.
doing this. This is, these people are,
Yeah.
I don't need them.
Fornicating
Too
with
close for
everybody.
comfort.
Yeah, that. And I'm like, I don't need anyone to know my business.
Yeah.
And that they were just all about letting you know about their business. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm good. Thanks.
I am not an advertisement, people.
No, don't need anyone to know about my bits. Thanks.
My bitness.
But
Yeah.
it ends up, Squeak gets jealous. Sophia's like, no, it's fine. Like, you guys can, I'm going to go off over here. But Squeak continues to chirp in her ear
Calls
about
her
it.
a
and
bitch
gets-
or something, right?
Yeah. And then I think she put hands on her. Oh, she slapped her.
She slapped her, yep.
Yeah. And then Sophia knocked
Fucking
her
punched
teeth
her.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sophia knocked
You
Squeak's
don't
teeth out.
put
Yeah.
hands on Sophia.
Yeah. She
Which we'll get
fucking
to again
knocked her out.
later.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that was the next thing
the
on
next
my
big
list
thing,
was
I
to
feel
talk
like,
about. Yeah, which I think is the saddest part of this book.
It
is what happens to Sophia.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree.
Because it completely changes her as
A person.
a person, yeah.
It breaks her, basically.
Mhm.
So she is at a gas station with her.
Her
They're not
kids.
married. Grady, is that his name?
No,
The guy that she's
Grady's
with?
the
It's just
other
her
guy.
man's.
Who's he?
So
The
it's
boyfriend.
it's just the prize fighter.
I don't
That's
know
what
her
they
name.
refer to him as several
Mhm.
times. Is the prize
Oh,
fighter.
so the dude that she's with now, she goes to the gas station with him and her kids, and the mayor and his wife are in the car next to them. And the mayor's wife is just like, what cute kids, what cute family, like having this stupid conversation
What
with her.
she does it in such a
says.
terrible way.
Such a terrible way. It's like, white lady, don't fucking talk to me right now.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I know what you're doing.
What she says
Oh, this lady.
is, so this is Miss Millie, the mayor's wife. Miss
Miss
Miss Millie.
Miss Billy.
She says to Sophia, all your children so clean.
Beelzebub.
Would you like to work for me and be my maid?
Fuck no.
Because that's such a
So-
compliment.
So
Yeah.
demeaning.
Yes.
And so privileged of her.
Yes.
It's like, I'm doing a nice thing by offering you to be my maid.
That's
it's like,
how
I don't
she
need
says
to be your
stuff,
fucking
though.
maid.
But it's also like, so my kids are taken care of, and you make it seem like that's not normal for black people,
Yeah,
which
It's-
is really insulting.
it is.
It's like, okay, slavery's abolished now, but I want to make you my maid, which is basically the fucking same fucking thing.
Yeah, indentured
That's something
servitude.
she actually goes into later, too. That's talked about.
Yep.
But, so she says that to Sophia. Do you want to be my maid? And Sophia says, hell no.
At first she tries to ignor her.
Yeah, she tries
For
really
a
hard
little bit, she tries to ignore her
or be
because
nice,
No.
kind of, but
yeah,
She just kind of, so that she kept saying things, but she didn't. This was the first time she actually asked her a question.
yeah. She's trying to ignore her up into that.
Yeah,
point.
she was just like, whatever. This lady's annoying as shit,
kinda
but whatever.
politely brush her off.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then she said, what'd you say? Oh.
My lord.
Yep. And Sophia said, hell no.
Mhm.
Mayor looks at Sophia, pushes wife out of the way, stick out his chest. Girl, what'd you say to Miss Millie? Sophia said, I said, hell no. And he slapped her.
So what did Sophia do?
So what did Sophia do?
We know what she does when people slap her.
Balled up that fist.
Fucking punch that
And just
motherfucker in the
boom.
face.
So Sophia knocked him down, and the police came and started slinging the kids off the mayor and banging their heads together. And Sophia really started to fight, and they dragged her to the ground.
I feel like Sophia would have been an amazing MMA fighter. Ronda Rousey, who?
Yeah. So they beat her.
Yeah.
And they said, well, what did the prize fighter do in all of this? And he wanted to jump in, but Sophia said to take the kids home. Also, the police had guns on him anyway.
But also, what a great mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, get the kids out of
Get the
this.
kids out of here. They don't need to see this. Protect them.
So then they haul her off to jail, and the next scene, it says, when I see Sophia, I don't know why she's still alive. They crack her skull, they crack her ribs, they tear her nose loose on one side. They blind her in one eye. She's swole from head to foot. Her tongue the size of my arm. It stick out between her teeth like a piece of rubber. She can't talk, and she's just about the color of an eggplant. She scare me so bad, I about drop my grip. But I don't. I put it on the floor of the cell, take out comb and brush, nightgown, witch hazel and alcohol, and I start to work on her.
Ouch.
The colored attendant bring me water to wash her with, and I start at her 2 little slits for eyes.
Oh.
It's so sad what happened to Sophia.
That part in
Ugh.
the remake of the movie that came out this year, 2023, that was when I was crying in that movie.
Yeah.
Like that whole, like, and I knew it was going to happen. Like, as soon as Sophia's like, let's go to town, I'm like, okay, this is the scene.
This is the scene.
And you're never fucking prepared for it. It's just so unjust and brutal. And she gets 12 years in jail for that. But
That's what she was sentenced to.
that's what she was sentenced to. But after 6 years.
3.
Yeah, so Sophia gets let out 3 years after her sentence to become what she fought to not be, which was the maid of the mayor's children. And there's a lot of interaction between Miss Millie and her. How, like, Miss Millie didn't know how to drive a car, but the mayor had bought her a car. Kind of as a power move to be like, oh, okay, you want a car? Here's your car, but you don't know how to drive it. So
Which is like such a dickhead
I know, he's
thing.
a fucking dick, that mayor guy. But so Sophia ends up teaching Miss Millie how to drive because Miss Millie asked her how to drive. And then I'm sure Miss Millie was like, I'm such a great person offering this to you. But Miss Millie's like, hey, you haven't seen your kids and your family in how long? And it was like 5 years.
It's like, I wonder fucking why.
Yeah, because you were
Yeah.
basically holding me hostage.
Making me sleep under your house.
Yeah. So Miss Millie's like, yeah, let's go visit your family. I'll drop you off and pick you up like later in the day or whatever. But whenever they get into the car, even though Sophia had been sitting next to her the whole time when she was teaching her how to drive, Miss Millie made her sit in the back because that's what you're supposed to do. She said, that's a shame. You just go get your things right now. Here it is, Christmas. Go get your things. You can stay all day. That's what Miss Millie, like, in her, she's like, oh, I'm going to be such a great white person and let you stay with your family for a day because it's Christmas. For all day, I don't need nothing but what I got on, I say. Fine, she say. Fine, well, get in. Well, Sophia, say. I was so used to sitting up there next to her, teaching her how to drive, that I just naturally clammed into the front seat. She stood outside on her side, the car clearing her throat.
Yeah.
Finally, she say, Sophia, with a little laugh, fuck you. This is the South. I fucking hate Miss Millie.
I do too.
Oh,
She's
she's
a
like the
bitch.
epitome of white privilege. This is the South. Yes, ma'am, I say. She clear her throat, laugh some more. Look where you sitting, she say. I'm sitting where I always sit, I say. That's the problem, she say. Have you ever seen a white person and a colored sitting side by side in a car when one of them wasn't showing the other one how to drive it or clean it? I got out of the car, opened the back door, and climbed in. She sat down up front. Office traveled down the road. Miss Millie hair blowing all out the window. So it was okay for Sophia to sit next to her when she was teaching Miss Millie how to drive, but it's such a fucking dumbass petty power move for her to be like, I am being so nice to let you see your family one day on Christmas. You need to sit in the back where you belong. Like, fuck you, lady.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up thing to do to a human.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then
she doesn't let her. She starts like mingling with her family, and then about 15 minutes later, Miss Millie's still fucking there.
Because she can't figure out. She never learned how to fucking reverse the car because she's a
Dumbass bitch.
dipshit.
Yeah.
Fuck you, lady.
And so she can't figure out how to get out of the drive to go home.
And she's all flustered because she can't figure it out because she's too fucking stupid. And then she basically, so Sophia's like, well, I can send you home with Odessa's husband, which is her sister, Jack, and he can like help you out, get you home, and then come back some other way, right?
Which is a totally reasonable solution to a problem.
and like literally being nice enough to be like offering their help. Like they could help you
So she could have some time with her freaking family she hasn't seen.
in 5 goddamn years.
But no, Miss Millie cannot have that because she can't be seen with a strange black man in the car
No.
with her.
God
so
forbid.
she offered Odessa to also join them, and she's like, "But I don't know her either." And it's
Yeah.
like,
Helpless
Really?
motherfucking bitch.
Yeah, so she had two solid solutions for Miss Millie, and Miss Millie wasn't hearing any of it. That's unfamiliar to me. And so, no, you're driving me home.
after only 15 minutes within 5 years of spending with her children,
Yeah.
who at that point, a lot of them don't even really know her anymore
Mhm.
because she's been gone so long.
It's really sad.
Because a lot of her kids were young.
Yeah.
And honestly, that
It's-
probably did more detrimental detrimental to her mental health to see them for 15 minutes rather than not at all.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that was probably very painful for her to do.
Yep. And then she's furthermore raising Miss Millie's children,
Yes.
Yep.
which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later because that's also an interesting relationship.
That is a very funny thing
Ugh.
that happens later. Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't think she's being paid. She's a prisoner, so I doubt she's being paid for any of the time that she's doing.
Oh, she's most definitely not being paid.
Yeah.
Definitely not gonna be. And I mean, like I said, this is like not that long after Reconstruction, so of course, you know,
It's still a terrible
that's one thing. You
time.
know, Willard, fucking public schools. So when we were in school, it's like, okay, we're gonna learn about slavery. Oh, Reconstruction happened. Everything was better. It's like, fuck no. I'm like, it's a good thing that Reconstruction happened, but there's so much shit that happened afterwards.
You don't
that-
just erase the entire way of thinking and being overnight.
Yeah.
No.
And
No.
all the just the
And they
fucked up
don't
shit that
teach
white
it.
people did to be like, well, you can't be my slave anymore, but I'm going to do this to make it so to prevent you from actually being free or feeling free.
It's
So-
super disappointing that we don't learn about these things in school the way that we should. Like, we are 3 white women. This is not our experience, and we're never going to have this experience. So we don't have a dog in this fight, and we're all 3 very,
Aware of
very aware.
Yes, very much aware of that.
But it is very disappointing to us that our history has been erased in the way that it has, or rather has been whitewashed in the way that it has. We do not have an accurate depiction of history, and it is disappointing.
Next big thing is when Celie and Suge sleep together. Finally.
Yes.
They finally sleep together. I feel like the most interesting thing about Suge and Celie finally sleeping together is what led up to them sleeping together was not romantic at all. It was basically like Albert was gone traveling and Suge was like, hey, because, wait, let's go back. So Suge and Albert were sleeping together.
Yes.
Like whenever
Yeah.
Suge came home, they ended up like fooling around again.
With Celie's permission.
Yeah, 'cause
after
Suge asked
initially
Celie.
that
Yeah.
happening, yes.
Yeah, Suge asked Celie if it was okay, and Celie was like, "I don't care." But it was more,
to sleep with him.
she wanted to sleep with Suge. She cared more about Suge sleeping with
Yeah.
Albert than Albert sleeping with Suge.
Yes.
But
she
one
didn't
day,
disclose that.
I don't remember where Albert was, but he was traveling, and Suge was like, "Hey, can I sleep with you? Because I don't want to sleep in a bed alone." And then they ended up having like this deep conversation about, kind of just like, I think Suge just asked about sex, and like Celie was like, "Oh, well, I've never enjoyed sex before," and she's like, "Really? Not even with your baby's daddy?" Because she knew that Celie had had kids, but she didn't know who the dad was.
Yeah.
And Celie ends up telling her like,
Everything.
my dad was the one that he raped me, and
She
It's
never
like-
had a positive experience when it came to sex until Shug.
There actually was a really great quote at the very beginning of the book that says, I don't even look at men, and that's the truth. I look at women, though, because I'm not scared of them.
That's terrifying.
It is.
And
And
sad.
like,
And I hate that.
I do too, but that's the quote that I remember throughout the whole book is, like, she's never had a good experience with a man fucking ever.
Mhm.
Like, from the time she was born, she doesn't know anybody except Pa, who rapes her.
Yep.
And then she's sold off to this other guy, Mister, who treats her like shit, beats her, does his thing with her, and she just kind of is like, oh, God, just do your thing and get the fuck off me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's her experience with men. Like, the nicest experience that she has with men at this point is honestly with Harpo.
Yeah, because he is not toxic to her.
And that's not even initially. It takes a while for
Oh,
him to
yeah,
grow
because the
up.
first thing he does is throw a fucking rock at her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, as soon as I said toxic, I'm like, let me take that back. Because he was kind of a
He was
fuck
a
He was
for
a little
bit.
shithead,
Harpo
yeah,
was a
when he was a
fucko.
kid. But he didn't have
At
anyone
first.
really
He
there.
had his male figure was his dad, who was
Yeah.
a fucking dick.
Well, and
Yeah.
she came to replace his mom that he literally just had die in his arms.
Yeah.
Right. Which you can understand why he would be angry.
Yeah, he's an angry little boy. Like, and they were she was a little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are children.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna read the whole thing because, I mean, I could, but I'm not gonna do that. But so the whole interaction between Shug and Celie. Celie's telling her like everything that happened, and she says, "I start to cry. I cry and I cry and I cry. Seemed like it all come back to me, laying there in Shug's arms. How it hurt and how much I was surprised. How it stung while I finished trimming his hair, because her dad wanted him to trim his hair all the time. So like the first time that he ever assaulted her, she was trimming his hair, and then he assaulted her, and then she had to start trimming his hair again.
Which she thought was weird because he usually was having her do it on the porch, and
Yes.
then he had her do it in her room.
And then she said, "How the blood dripped down my leg and mess up my stocking. How he don't never look at me." Sorry, it's fucked up.
It is really fucked up.
Sorry.
It's like one of those things that you just read and you just fucking internally cringe with your whole entire body.
I had to skip through a lot of it. I had to skim through because I couldn't read it.
Yeah. Okay. My mama die, I tell Shug. My sister Nettie ran away. Mister come get me and come get me to take care of his rotten children. He never asked me nothing about myself. He climb up on top of me and fucking fuck, even when my head get bandaged. Nobody ever loved me, I say. She say, I love you, Miss Celie.
It's just like imagining the aloneness, the just betrayal of being left there to that by yourself, you know. I can't even imagine how terrible that feels.
But that was like their first interaction. That's how they
bonded.
they bonded over that. So like
She's probably the first person that ever fucking asked her anything about herself or how she felt.
yep.
And I think she was. I really do.
Besides, like, Nettie. But Nettie's been gone for quite some time at that point.
Yeah.
And she feels like Nettie's even abandoned her because she doesn't write, but that's not even the case. She just doesn't know that.
It's just interesting. Like, it goes back to what we were saying. I do think that Shug and Celie truly did love each other, but Shug definitely didn't treat, like, in this situation, she did treat Celie very well. But we learn out later that she kind of bebops around and is not faithful to Celie. But I don't know. Their relationship's very interesting to me because Celie relies on Shug for a lot of emotional support, and I think, and she's a very powerful woman. She, like, I think Celie wants to be Shug in a lot of ways, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Shug does love Celie, but she's just not that kind of person that could stay with one person, you know?
I think it also, for Shug, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself in this matter, but I think it also comes from a deep-seated insecurity and feeling that you don't deserve to have love. So it's easier to move around and experience different people to keep yourself from feeling that.
Well, I think she was burned pretty young. I mean, the only person that she ever probably really loved was Albert initially.
Yeah.
And that was cut off pretty quick because I don't even know what the dad's thoughts on her were, why they couldn't be together, but there was some reason.
Mm-hmm. But then you also find out she has children, and then they don't even want anything to do with her except for one.
Yeah, and I wonder if Albert is the father of those
He
children
is.
because I feel like he is.
He definitely is. He says that, I know all of her children are mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I couldn't remember if it was or not. And
And her grandma or her mom is taking care of all of her kids because she's the only one who could stand them or something like that. I don't remember. There's a quote from Shug in there someplace like, my mom can stand them, so she's got them.
Shug is not a motherly type of
She's
woman.
not.
she is the opposite of Celie when it
Yeah.
comes to that. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Shug's a lot like I probably was in my 20s. Like, I don't want any kids. I'm never having them.
Shug is me
But
all the
she's
time.
I was like,
stayed
no,
there.
Sugar's me.
Yeah. But she just stayed there in that I'm going to live up my life. I'm going to drink my ass off. I'm going to party my ass off. And I'm never going to have responsibility to anybody. She's very childish.
Mm-hmm.
Is it childish or is it a fear?
Little of both.
I know for me, I feel the same way in a lot of things, a lot of respects. I actually see myself a lot in Sugar. And I was just like, to me, it's not a childishness. It's more of a fear,
First of all.
I don't think
Any
it's
person that doesn't
bad
want
to
to
be
have
selfish in
children
that
doesn't mean
situation.
that they're childish.
Well, that's
I
not the
don't
reason I think she's childish. It's not
Yeah.
childish to not want kids.
Yeah.
Until I had children, I didn't want kids. That's fine. It's
Yeah.
totally acceptable to not want to have children, and it's fine to not have children ever. My thought of her being childish is more to the idea that she never really takes responsibility for her own actions throughout the book.
She just does what she wants,
Yeah.
what she feels. Yeah.
Yes. And she doesn't really take responsibility for how that might make someone else feel.
So I don't think that's childish. I think that's selfish.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
You know?
Self-centered, selfish, childish.
selfish.
I can,
I have to.
I get where you're
Selfish.
coming from, Amber.
I can see what you're meaning in that regard. Yeah, I can.
It is not selfish to not want to have children. Please don't ever take anything I say that way because I didn't want them until I had them.
because there's two of us here. They're like, fuck that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is okay to not want kids.
Yes. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. And she definitely, from the actions and from what we were saying about how she loves Celie, but then she goes and
She ends up with a
fucks around with other
19-year-old.
people. Yeah. And it's like,
She gets married.
boy.
She's like, man, you know.
yeah.
And he's
she
a
does what she wants.
boy.
Yeah.
Compared to her at this point. She's like,
She's a much older. She's like at least in her 40s
I
at
was
that
gonna
point.
say-
And
If
I don't
not
remember if it was
50s,
in the
yeah.
book. I know it was in the newer movie, but her reasoning was, I'm getting old and this is the last time I'll be able to hit something that young, basically. Not, you know what I mean? Like,
that's what she
That was-
says in the book.
yeah. And I was like, that's not a good reason, honey.
Okay,
but
but
okay.
I just want to say, honey, what the hell? Because if you get some 19-year-old, all he's going to do is jackhammer you.
Yeah, he's not going to have any good moves.
He ain't going to know shit. And he's just going to be like, yeah, you like that? And he's just like fucking jackhammer. And you're like, okay, I'm a little bored actually.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry to any 19-year-old boys we may have offended.
Don't just jackhammer,
Like,
okay?
19-year-old boys are going to be listening to our podcast.
Fucking try, all right?
That's comical.
Maybe they're listening to it so they don't have to write a fucking report on a book that they read. They can
And then
just
they're
listen
gonna,
to our
their
bullshit.
teacher's gonna be like, "Don't jackhammer, what?"
Life lessons. Don't jackhammer.
All right, educational podcast, people. Don't jackhammer. Don't do it.
Fuck proper.
I mean, unless you like that and you're like down for just being jackhammered and not getting anything else, all right, go for it. But
Make sure you got a
Jesus.
pillow near that headboard.
You feel like a sinner.
Oh
and
my
maybe
gosh.
under your lower back if you're that old, okay?
True.
Because you might need it. Just saying.
My gosh, how do we get here?
19-year-old Chug.
Oh yes.
Chuck's
yes.
19-year-old boy. That's later.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We're
people.
getting way ahead.
Let's unplug the jackhammer and get back to what we're talking about.
Okay. Why don't we talk about, because I think it's next. Actually, Lauren knows what's next. What's next? Nettie's letters?
Shug finds out that Albert has been hiding all
Yeah.
the letters that Nettie has been writing to Celie. And then that's whenever Nettie gets introduced back into the book. And so it switches from
Dear God to Dear
Celie's
Celie.
perspective to Nettie's perspective and
Yes.
what's going on in her life. So take it away. What's been going on in Nettie's life, y'all?
So I guess basically she, whenever she was basically banished from Albert's or Mister's house, she ran to town and she took up living and working for the Reverend and his wife and taking care of basically Celie's children. They were, you know,
They're missionaries.
yeah, they were missionaries. They decided to go to Africa. And so she traveled with them. She was given that option and she said yes. So she went there with them and she lived there the majority of her life. She took care of the children. She also helped them with their missionary process when, and helped teach kids at the school that they built with the Olinka tribe. Did anyone ever look up to see if that was a real tribe?
I did
No.
not.
I
Hold on.
didn't think
That's
about
a
that
good
till
idea.
now.
Olinka tribe.
They're not a real tribe.
They're not a real tribe, yeah.
All
It's
right.
fictionalized.
Just Googled.
apparently.
Which is kind of
It's a little disappointing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
that kind of seems like what's the word I'm looking for? Offensive that she didn't make it a real tribe.
I wonder if she based it off any type of tribe or if she just
It just says
Farted
it's
it out of her mind.
fictionalized. But it's really disappointing when stuff like that happens
Yeah.
because you're like, there's an actual real culture that you could have pulled from.
Maybe
Yeah.
she made it fictional because she molded a bunch of different tribes into
Maybe.
one because
Possibly.
they are very different from each other. So maybe that was her reasoning, but I don't know. It kind of seems kind of weird that it's fictional.
yeah.
A
I
little.
don't know.
But
Anyway.
yeah, so Nettie is living with the Reverend Samuel and his wife Corinne, taking care of Adam and Olivia, Celia's children,
But which we don't know about yet. That they're her children.
Well, they don't know.
They don't know that.
yeah.
Celie
Nettie
knows
does.
and Nettie does.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the reasons why she stayed with them is because she knew they were Celia's children.
Because the whole premise behind that is that I reread it yesterday and it confused me. Like the whole relationship between Pa and their mom and everything was basically their mom was married to someone else. And that guy
Is actually Nettie and Celie's.
and actually Nettie's and Celie's dad.
Yes.
And he ended up getting lynched because all these fucking white people were being assholes and they basically lynched him and a couple other people that other black men that were running like a store in town and they were like, "You're being successful now!" And so
How
they
dare
lynched
you.
them because they're fuckos. So after her husband got lynched, she could not recoup from that and her mental health, Celie and Nettie's mom's mental health went downhill. And that's when Pa showed up, Alfonso, and kind of like took
took
them
over
as
everything.
his own kind of thing, but then,
Actually just raped them.
yeah. So, but that's why Celie and Nettie thought that he was their dad.
They never knew otherwise.
Yeah, they never knew because it
mom never
all happened
told them
whenever
any
they were
different.
really young.
Yeah.
So that's the whole backstory behind that.
And the mom also told them that he was their pa.
Yes.
But let's talk about the Olinka some more.
Yes.
Because I really liked that aspect of things.
One thing I thought was interesting about the whole Olinka thing was there were these colonizers that were like building a road through their tribe. And at first, the Alincas were like, yay, we'll be able to use this, you know,
Yeah,
to our
for
advantage
trade.
and stuff. And they were like, they gave them food, they gave the workers food. And then
Mhm.
after the road was built, they like had this whole celebration with them. And then like the next day, they realized, oh, shit, they're gonna demolish our fucking tribe.
And they did.
Because
Which is really fucking sad.
they're basically like, hey, that house is where my road's supposed to be.
Yep. Another thing I wanted to point out about Nettie's story too was, you know, they're missionaries and stuff, and there's a part in here where Nettie and Samuel and Corinne go and like hang out with some other missionaries who are mostly white. And she says, well, we had 2 weeks of study in the Alinka dialect, which the people, this is like before, I think it's like in preparation to go to the Alinka tribe.
Because they went to England before.
Yeah,
Then they go
yeah.
back to England.
Because
another
the British
time.
invasion, there's a lot of
Yeah.
like
Well,
British
Britain-
and Dutch,
Yeah,
like
they basically are the commonwealths
Yes.
of them at the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
hmm So we had 2 weeks of study in the Alinka dialect, which the people in this region speak. Then we were examined by a doctor and given medical supplies for ourselves and for our host village by the Missionary Society of New York. It is run by white people, and they didn't say anything about caring about Africa, but only about duty. There is already a white woman missionary not far from our village who has lived in Africa for the past 20 years. She is said to be much loved by the natives, even though she thinks they are an entirely different species from what she calls Europeans. Europeans are white people who live in a place called Europe. That is where the white people down home came from. She says an African daisy and an English daisy are both flowers, but totally different kinds. The man at the society says she is successful because she doesn't coddle her charges. She also speaks their language. He is a white man who looks at us as if we cannot possibly be as good with the Africans as this woman.
Which, funny.
Yeah.
You find out later, she's not even a real fucking missionary.
Yeah.
She's like, do what you want. Don't care. I'm going to write my books.
Yeah. And it's just
I'm like,
so full of fucking racism. It's like, we're different flowers. Fuck off. Like, dude, that's not a good comparison.
But at the same time, I kind of think she figured them out, because what Samuel and Corinne and Nettie were finding were that they weren't really taking the missionaries seriously, because once again, not that these people even asked for them to fucking be there in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they were like, you got it's a little bit of joke. We're gonna go to the roof, leave here, because that's what we know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what sustains us and helps us, and it makes total sense, you know. And for them, I feel like Christian missionaries, and I'm not trying to be hateful here, unless they ask you, what are you doing?
Well, it's always like that white savior bullshit too. It's
Yeah.
like, we're helping. It's like, what are you actually doing?
Who
You're
asked you?
trying
Exactly.
to push your religion on these people
Yeah.
that
No.
don't want it.
Yeah.
And I feel like they got that kind of feeling back from the Olenka, where they're like, okay, all right, but we're still gonna do our own thing over here,
Yeah.
you know. And I don't blame them one bit, you know.
Well,
even if
because
they're
their way
a
worked
fake
for
tribe.
them.
Yeah, no
Like-
one asked for them to be there.
No, and that's so common too.
And
It's
they
like,
honestly didn't help them with anything.
no, like who asked for your fucking help? Nobody asked you.
Yeah. One of the biggest quotes that I took away from Nettie's letters was about kind of like the missionary white savior bullshit was she wrote, hard times is a phrase the English love to use when speaking of Africa. And it is easy to forget that Africa's hard times were made harder by them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, girl,
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
Like, that was like such a good quote. And it summed it up so
I
well.
had that highlighted in
Yep.
mine as well because it was a really good quote.
It's like, they want to go save these people, but they don't need to be saved. Like, you're doing this because you want to inflate your own ego. So Celie goes back to visit her pa and confronts him about knowing that he's not really her father. Which, that would be a very uncomfortable situation, I feel like.
I feel like the whole entire situation with him is uncomfortable. So no matter what you do, it's
Well,
all
like, what he says pisses me off. So, like, she goes in there and she tells him, okay, so it says, I feel so sick, I almost gag. Nettie in Africa, I say, a missionary. She wrote me that you ain't our real pa. Well, he say, so now you know. That's what he said.
Wait.
That's it.
One thing that I really thought was interesting about Celie going to see her dad is the woman that he's with now is very young and very, like...
He basically keeps replacing his women with young women.
Young women, yeah, that he could, like, overpower.
He's fucking gross.
Yeah, he's
He
a
is.
fucking gross person. Nothing against her. I'm just saying, like, he likes them young, which is fucking disgusting.
It's because they're powerless.
And he really has nothing to say because Suge goes with Celie to go see him. And they confront him and he's like, yep, well, that's what happened. Okay, I guess you know what's going on. Like, there's not really that much closure that happens with...
There's not even, like, any apologies to where,
Yeah.
like, hey, sorry I raped you.
There's not really any closure
It's like,
at all.
okay, you're just
Yeah.
a dickwad.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then she asks where the graves are.
Yes.
And he said,
Her parents' graves.
yep. And he said, lynched people don't get no marker. Like this is something everybody know.
Hmm.
Mama got one? I asked. He say, nah. So, like,
He didn't even bother to pay for one.
no. And she never got closure. She doesn't get the closure of getting to go where her parents were last placed. So this is where she's starting to get her power, I feel like.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
But for me, this scene is as close to closure as she's gonna get.
Yeah.
And I think she needed that closure, and she knew that this was as close as she was ever gonna get, is by confronting him and saying, you're not even really who you said you were all these years. And you're like, he raped her over and over, and the whole time she thought that this was her dad and that was incest, and she was probably very ashamed of all of it.
And even if he wasn't her dad or related, that's still fucked
it's always
up.
fucked
Still
up.
what he fucking did.
But it's more fucked up that she thought that he
Yeah.
was her dad.
Yeah.
Yes, and that there was no correction of that ever. But his response to me was just so vile.
He has no emotion.
He has no emotion. Well, so now you know.
He's not sorry about it at all.
He's paper
not.
thin of an emotional person. Like, he has no emotion.
And it just, I don't know, that just kind of broke my heart for her.
Yeah.
Like, that there's no real, but that's reality. If we're talking about it for real, that's reality. Whenever you confront the person that you want to confront, most of the time the response that you get is not the one that you imagine in your head. It's
Yeah.
not the apology you hoped for.
Because they're still going to be the person that they always were.
They're still
no one ever
the
fucking
shithead
changes.
they always were.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know.
And she knew. She had low expectations of him because he's a shitty
And you
human.
know, honestly, it might have been closure for her to go visit him to see. Because here's the thing. Here's another thing. Is like, before they even met him again, like, there's this whole, like, 2 pages where it's just her and Suge driving there and seeing how gorgeous it is there. And Suge's like, wow, this is where you grew up. And Celia's like, this is not how it was whenever I grew up. It was very dilapidated. Now it's very gorgeous. So apparently Pa was very successful, right?
Well,
But
which is
then she
disappointing.
meets him and she sees, oh, yeah, you're still the fucko that I knew before.
Well,
you
at
know?
I love that you keep calling everybody else fucko, by
Because he's
the way.
a fucko.
Yeah. Well, I
He's
mean,
a fucking fucko.
once he dies at the end of the
he
book,
does die.
his new wife is like, you know, the home that you grew up in has been knocked down. It's not here anymore. He built this new fancy house that he basically was able to afford because of a store that wasn't even his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
it turned out that he's been the store
He
was
lived
left.
off of Celie's parents' success.
Mhm.
That's
But-
basically all of it.
But that store was never his in the first place.
Yep.
It
Nope.
was always willed.
The land, the house,
Yeah, so
the
basically-
store
To
was
Celie
never
and
his.
Nettie.
After this confrontation, Celie's dad dies, and his young wife now. I forget her name.
Daisy, I
I think Daisy is
but
right.
she approaches Celie and she's like, hey, he gave me all this money in his will, but you and Nettie are the sole owners of the house and the store. And she like did not fight them about it. She's like, this is yours. Because she knew.
Which I really loved
She's
and
a good character.
appreciated.
Very small character, but a very strong and great character.
Because
was her. Because she knew.
She's honest.
She's honest, and she knew what he did.
Yeah.
I think she was probably glad to be rid of him because she
Oh,
already had
probably.
2 kids
She
and
was probably
already
melting
she was
him.
knocked up again.
It's like, this guy's a creepo, but I'm going to ride him for as long as I can, and then boop, now I got some money.
Literally ride him.
Yeah. Gross. But, so, yes, Celie
But yeah.
and Nettie get the house and the storefront, but Nettie doesn't know about that because she's in Africa, you know. But
Celie was like, I don't fucking want it. And Shig was like, why the fuck not?
yeah.
That happens a
that.
little later, too.
Yeah. So that's near the end. Yeah.
Yeah, that's closer to the end. It's coming.
So I think the next big part about this
Where
is
the book got its name.
Exactly. What Sam wanted to talk about is the whole...
Jesus.
Yes, thank you. I love the pronunciation. The
That was the purple.
If it's not Sam, it's me burping.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that people need to do. Listeners,
Burp.
do a game between was it Sam or was it Lauren that burped? Because you will never fucking know.
I promise. Celie decides.
We are finally coming to the part that Sam wanted to really talk about,
Yes.
which was the religion aspect of this. Because, yes, this is a religious book, but Celie, to this point, was very...
she writes God every day.
not anti-God, but she was getting very just like, I don't even know if you exist kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in this particular letter, instead of writing God, which she'd done consistently through the whole book, she writes, Dear Nettie, I don't write to God no more. I write to you.
Yep. Take it away,
Yep.
Sam.
So in reading this letter, which she has now changed to Nettie, she basically describes a conversation between her and Shug, and it's just basically a talk about God. And I found myself really identifying with Shug's idea of God.
I did too.
I'm not.
I like
you know,
Shug's idea
yeah.
of God.
Like I was raised in the church. I can't necessarily say I'm a Christian or anything now. I believe that, you know, God or gods, whatever you believe, is within whatever you want. I believe that it's within nature and myself. And the stars, the sky, you know, plants, whatever is around you that can sustain and give you life. And things that just find life, you know, in its own self. So I kind of felt like Shug was very much like that too. And Celia had basically almost given up on her belief of God.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't blame her.
Not
she
surprised.
Literally had gone through a lot of shit in the movie that, you know, I'll eventually talk about maybe someday. It's such a long podcast.
Sam is going down. Like, I am done.
In the movie, she was like, you know, Celie was talking about to Shug about all these things, like where's God in these things, and when he did this or that, and she was like, don't sound like God did that to you, sounds like men did that to you. And like,
Yes.
I think that was the strongest point in the movie for me, and I was like, absolutely.
Yep.
Fucking absolutely. Like, men did these things to her, not necessarily the God within herself or within the living things that she's coming across, or even the God that she was taught when she was young. And it kind of makes it more humanistic in the sense that, you know, we're not going to be able to please this
Almighty
nebulous
force.
God that, you know, we can't see or touch or feel or hear or whatever, you know. We're never going to please something that's supposedly perfect. So whatever we take joy in, surely he can take joy in, or that it can take joy in. She later refers to God as
which I think is a good
Yeah.
way, rather than he.
Yeah.
It is a better way to put God than he.
Yeah, so it's like, and I think this part of the chapter that really, really stuck with me too was saying that, have you ever found God in church?
Yeah, that really rung
I never
with
did,
me.
you know? And I just found a bunch of folks hoping for him to show any God I ever felt in church I brought in with him, or with me rather. And I think all the other folks did too. They come to church to share God, not find God. And I think that's probably one of the most telling things and truthful things about religion is that you go there to share God, and you have to find God in your own way, whether it be whatever religion tells you or
God's where you find it.
Yep.
It's not what you're looking for in a church, and you're not always going to find it there. And I related a lot to that too. I was raised Christian as well, and I've since cut ties to the church because of the way they made me feel while I was there. That doesn't mean that I don't have Christian values. That doesn't mean that I don't have my own way of praying or whatever. But my thoughts about God are very similar to this of it's where I find peace and happiness. It's not what everybody tells me is right.
Yep.
Religion is a thing that I think a lot of people, especially in our day and age, can feel uncomfortable about, right?
Yeah.
But specifically what Sam was saying, like, I feel like with Suge's portrayal of it, it's about nature.
Yeah.
And about, like, seeing what the world has provided. Not even just God, just, like, nature and being like, look at that flower. Look how beautiful it is. Look at that tree. Look how it's just surviving on its own for years and years. I think that's kind of like Suge's, like, perspective of, like, look, this is life. This is what we're doing. And, honestly, like, that's kind of like how I think we're all in the same boat as far as, like, yeah, I was growing up kind of like I was raised Methodist, but, and I still believe in something. I don't know if I would say I'm Christian, but I believe in a higher power.
Same.
But my whole shtick is I believe in faith, but I don't believe in, like, humans fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, like, religion is great. But the more humans put their little grubby little hands on it, the more, like, corrupt it gets.
100%.
And I honestly feel like one part of the last part, because it's like Suge talking about stuff, and then the last part of that chapter, Suge says, man corrupt everything, say Suge. He on your box of grits, in your head, and all over the radio. He tried to make you think he everywhere. Soon as you think he everywhere, you think he God. But he ain't. Whenever you trying to pray and man plop himself on the other end of it, tell him to get lost, say Suge. Conjure up flowers, wind, water, a big rock. But this hard work, let me tell you, he been there so long, he don't want to budge. He threatened lightning, floods, and earthquakes. Us fight. I hardly pray at all. Every time I conjure up a rock, I throw it. And I know that
she ends with amen.
She's talking about men, but I remember reading that and being like, that's how I feel about religion too, though, because, like, religion's great, but humans fuck up religion in so many fucking ways. The book, other than basically Nettie's portion, was not that religious, but I feel like both the movies were a lot more religious.
Yeah.
Like, God, but the book itself, like, I feel like Celie was hopeful at the beginning, and then just through her life just getting beat down, just didn't believe in God as much. But then she switched her belief to be like, oh yeah, God's still there, but it's an it. It's not a he. it's not it's just what I want it to be.
She was definitely more focused on God as being he, and since men had let her down repeatedly.
Yeah. Like having God as a he was
she had a
very
hard
traumatic
time with
for
it.
her.
Yeah.
And then when she had that conversation with Suge, when she's like, wait,
I don't have to think of it as a man.
I think
A
that
white
gave her
man?
comfort.
That too?
Which is very
that was
powerful.
a big conversation.
If you think
too.
about that, that's very powerful because Celie has such a not great relationship with any man in her life other than maybe Harpo.
Harpo's about the best that it comes.
She's had such a traumatic like experience with any man, which I totally get.
Yeah.
Why
So
she
it's
would
like,
be
why
like
would she
that.
even feel like she could trust God at that point?
But also at the same time, it's kind of ironic that Suge and her had that that conversation about religion, because you would think Suge would like, you know, she's a carefree woman. You don't think that she'd have this deep conversation about religion or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was definitely, I think, a pretty, even if you are not religious, I think that's a pretty strong chapter.
Yeah.
I think because like we went back to, it's not even about religion, it's about nature, it's about
Finding
your
God within
perspective.
yourself.
Yeah. It's your strengths, it's your perspective, you know, it's not necessarily about religion.
It's also about allowing yourself to be happy with what makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, she was just basically saying it's not all about like enjoying these things that are bad. It's about enjoying the things that you like and
The little things.
Yeah, and taking this kind of aspect where if you can enjoy it, then God obviously made it for you to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so surely has to like take some kind of pride and acceptance in that.
Yeah.
Yep. I definitely liked her viewpoint on religion. Better than any I think I've read in a book in a long time.
Yeah.
The next big, actually, this is a big moment.
It's when she leaves.
The dinner conversation.
Yeah, when she leaves.
Yes.
Okay.
So there is a dinner conversation that happens. Sophia's there. Everybody's there.
She's been pissed at Albert for a while. Okay, Mister. She's been mad at him
Celie has, yeah.
Celie's been mad
Because
at
of the
him for
letters.
a long while about the letters.
Because she
She-
last time she was there.
They have this big meal. They're all sitting around, and Suge says, "Well, I'm going back to where was she going?
Back to Memphis, right?
Memphis. I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
She says, I'm going to Memphis, and Celie's coming with us." Mister's head swiveled back straight. "Say what?" he asked. "Celie is coming to Memphis with me. Over my dead body," Mister say. "You satisfied that what you want?" Suge say, cool as clamber. Mister start up from his seat, look at Suge, plop back down again. He look over at me. "I thought you was finally happy," he say. "What wrong now?" "You a low-down dog is what's wrong," I say. "It's time to leave you and enter into the creation. And your dead body is just the welcome mat I need."
I loved it. I loved it so much.
So fantastic. He was shocked, obviously.
Because she, at this point, we'd never seen
No.
Celie do that.
Stand up for
she'd
herself.
been
Oh.
beaten the whole
But she had all
time.
this fucking anger
Rage.
and resentment and shit into her system. Yeah.
And she had the confidence
Yep.
that she needed by this point. And I was
Yes.
so proud. Like, I was just like, oh,
Fuck yeah.
fucking tell it,
Fuck
girl.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. She said, "You took my sister Nettie away from me, and she was the only person loved me in the world." Mister start to sputter. This cracked me up. But. Sound like some kind of a motor.
Yeah.
"But Nettie and my children coming home soon," I say, "and when she do, all us together gonna whoop your ass."
Fuck yeah.
I fucking loved that.
Yeah.
Also at this dinner, Mary Agnes, also known as Squeak,
Yeah.
determines...
Squeak's name is Mary Agnes,
Yes.
y'all.
Which sounds like a fucking nun.
yeah, it does. I would prefer Squeak, but
She decides she is leaving as well to go sing in Memphis and
Yep.
become
She's
some
like,
kind
"I'm
of a music
leaving
star.
with them."
Now, at this point, she's also had a child with Harpo,
Yep.
which was not ever mentioned in the movies.
yeah.
Nope. And at this point, Harpo's like, well, who's gonna raise our kids? And I'm like, well, probably you, dipshit.
You helpless all of a
At
sudden?
this
Yeah.
point, yeah.
But Sophia's sitting there and she steps the fuck up and she's like, I'm gonna take care of all of our kids. I'll don't worry about the kids. I've got this. You
I'm
go
not
sing.
going nowhere.
I would trust Sophia
I would too,
for
but
fucking sure.
this was such a weird. This is that weird relationship dynamic that we were talking about. So basically,
well, all the women were like, "We're doing all this shit," and then all the other women were like, "We will
got this.
help you with that." Fuck yes! And all the men were just sitting there with their fucking tongues tied, not knowing what to fucking say because
Yep.
they don't know.
Their thumbs up their butts.
It was such a
Yep.
very good fucking scene.
It
like,
was.
so fucking powerful.
I got some
So,
other things too.
Celie
God,
goes
this is
up.
so long.
goes to Memphis with Suge. So basically, she made like this pair of pants for Suge initially that was loose in the waist because sometimes Suge drinks a little heavy and gets a little
Bloated.
chunky.
Yeah.
Gets a little chunky
I feel
around the
that.
waist.
She's making pants for women, which
Yeah.
is great.
But then she makes a pair of pants for Jack, and then after she makes them for Jack, Odessa wants some. And then that starts a whole trend, and people want to wear her pants. So, like, she leaves with nothing. Just the clothes on her back and the love of Suge Avery.
Yep.
Hoping,
yeah.
hoping for a better
Preach it,
life.
girl.
Yeah, hoping for a better life. And she goes to Memphis and fucking starts a pants factory.
Yeah, well, because she repurposes her quote unquote pause storefront into that.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
She's
Eventually,
Eventually,
But
but
he
she didn't
hasn't
even know
died
what
yet.
she had
Yeah,
until Suge told her. She's like, "You got something going on,"
yeah.
and then they repurpose that storefront into a pants factory.
I don't think
or not even a
that.
factory, but just a storefront.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't happen till a little bit later, but yeah, she just
Yeah.
starts making pants out of the house,
Just
and then
putting out
eventually,
So yeah, Celie gets this good pants operation going, and she ends up hiring Sophia to help out in the store.
Yeah, she's like one of the clerks.
Yes. So let's talk about Sophia again, if we can. I think a big thing about Sophia's story is her relationship with Eleanor Jane, which is the daughter of
Miss Millie.
Miss
Yes.
Millie Motherfuckwad. That is her name. That is her name.
Millie motherfucker.
Miss
Millie Motherfuckwad.
AKA the mayor's wife, the mayor that she punched in the fucking face.
It's interesting
Knocked
because
out.
so basically, they had 2 kids. The mayor had 2 kids. There was a boy and a girl. The boy, he was a turd. He was horrible, always horrible to Sophia. But the girl was
Just
kind of
loved
nice,
her.
and she liked her.
Yeah.
She loved her. I think she always grew up with Sophia.
I
But
think
the,
Eleanor Jane saw Sophia as more of a mother figure than she saw her own mother because because Sophia was around more.
Yeah. And she had more of a relationship with her. But it's interesting to see Sophia's perspective of it, which we see in the book because, you know, Sophia's relationship with her is like, oh, yeah, I grew up with her. And Eleanor Jane would always come to her for, like, support and everything, which is what you do to, like, a motherly figure.
Yeah.
You know, but in Sophia's mind, which I totally get, is like you are literally like she doesn't love her.
It's a
in a
forced
way that she would love a
relationship.
daughter. Yeah,
Eleanor Jane is a young white woman growing up in a white world.
mm-hmm.
Okay? She doesn't recognize what she probably should, that Sophia was forced into this relationship and is probably resentful. But she doesn't see that. She just sees Eleanor Jane, or she sees Sophia as a mammy.
Mm-hmm.
That's who raised me. Which
Yeah.
is really fucked, but that's that relationship dynamic. She doesn't see what she should because she wasn't raised to see it.
But,
But-
at some point, she's gonna learn, you know? Like,
At some point, you have to recognize it.
Yeah.
But that was
maybe not at
her
first,
normal.
but,
It's not
yeah.
acceptable. But perception is everything.
Because
upon
every
Sophia.
time that she came to go see Sophia, Sophia would thought of it as like, oh, okay, but
But that's not
Eleanor
how
thought of
Eleanor
it as like,
thought it.
I'm coming to find
This is-
guidance.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get that from her own mom.
Right.
Mhm.
So it was weird reading that whole chapter because it was like, okay, I totally see both their perspectives for fucking sure. But I see the white privilege of Eleanor
Exactly.
being like, hey, I'm just going to impose myself and just like sit on your lap and tell you what I think.
Make you be my therapist.
Yeah, when it's like, that's not what
So-
Sophia wants. She wants to be with her fucking family that she hasn't seen in how many years?
Right.
You know?
It's very easy to raise your children when you never had to raise your children.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that if you were a kid in that situation, that would be a pretty hard thing to separate out. So I can see the internal struggle. Like, I could see where that would be confusing to Eleanor. I also can see where anyone from the outside looking in would be like, what the fuck, Eleanor?
Here's the thing. I will tell you, I think that she meant well, though.
I do too.
Eleanor did mean well, but she had ignorance.
She
Yes.
had a
You
lot
know,
of it. Yeah.
like it was a lot of ignorance and white privilege that she had on her side that she
Wasn't
was just
aware
like,
of.
oh, I'm just gonna bust it into this person's life. She did not realize.
What she
And
was
she was
still
being
that
a
conversation
burden?
with Sophia,
Yeah.
where Sophia finally was like,
No,
This
I don't.
was-
Yes.
I don't love your baby.
you want me to tell you that your baby is cute? No, I don't fucking love your baby.
It was
like,
so funny.
It was refreshing, honestly, because I feel like that a lot. People are like, "Oh, isn't this baby so cute?" And I'm like, "It's a fucking baby."
babies, first of all,
So
are always not cute.
Just
Right?
like it's a baby to me. I don't care
I'm
about it.
sorry.
I'm sorry. It's not my
They're
relation.
little bitty
I
little things
sure,
that don't look like
I
humans
guess.
yet.
I don't know. It's a marshmallow. I don't. I'm sorry. I can't give you the answer you want.
you just don't like him because he looked like Daddy, say Miss Eleanor Jane. You don't like him because he looked like Daddy, say Sophia. I don't feel nothing about him at all. I don't love him. I don't hate him. I just wish he wouldn't run loose all the time, messing up folks' stuff. And then later she says, I got my own troubles, say Sophia. And when Reynolds Stanley grow up, he's gonna be one of them.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So then after that, we have this point in the book where I feel like we all are kind of like, I don't know. But it's a point where Albert and Celie kind of make amends.
Well, okay, so before that happens, though, Albert gets really sick in the book.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get better until after he sends the rest of the letters to Celie.
Yeah.
I think he's just literally depressed and dealing with his own demons.
I agree
Which in
with
the
that.
movie was different. But yeah, it's
Way
definitely
different.
like he gets to rock bottom
Yeah,
and then he approaches her. But
yeah.
there's a point in the book where
I think everybody left his ass, and he didn't have anyone else to fucking deal with.
Fucking
then
Albert's
he
a little
was like,
useless
"Holy
asshole."
shit, I'm an asshole,
yep.
and I'm alone. And I gotta deal with my own shit."
I did like, there's a particular scene that cracked me up in the book where he's like, hey, so now we're good, right?
We should be man and wife. Yeah.
We've been married. We're still legally married.
And she's like,
nah.
She basically is like,
No.
her response is basically like, look, bro, I don't think you understand that I'm batting for the other team and you are barking up the wrong tree.
Yes, yeah, no. The fact that Celie could let him be a part of her life again is very strong on her part, not his.
Mhm.
The fact that he came back to her and was like, I want you to be a part of my life, and she let him be a part of her life is very fucking strong on her part, and she never would have thought about that.
There was no reason for her to forgive him. There was no reason for her to find peace with him, but she found her peace with him, and that brought a positive closure to her relationship with him. They were able to end that on a friendly term. That said, Albert, I think in her absence, grew in his own way. It did not redeem his character, but he had a redemption arc.
So Nettie ends up coming back home
Yep.
and reuniting with Celie
Mm-hmm.
and her two kids, and Samuel and Adam's wife,
Yep.
Tashi.
And I think
And that's where it ends. Like, there's not really much after that. It's kind of like, hey, we got together, and it was like very embraceful and everything, and actually pretty emotional, I think. But it doesn't. It kind of leaves it open-ended, which I kind of like.
It makes me wonder because there are 2 additional books. This is supposed to be like a trilogy type,
which I
of
didn't know.
book.
Yeah,
I didn't know until we started talking about using this book as the next one.
me too.
That I was like, I wonder if there's like more to the story afterwards, or if it goes out of like timeline and starts elsewhere, or well, like what it does. So there's 2 additional books.
And now for the movie adaptation section of this podcast. Are you ready?
I am.
You guys sound very tired.
We've been at this for a hot second.
All right. So,
It's a lot of mentally
we have
taxing
been recording
shit.
for the past, holy shit, we just
Like 4 fucking hours.
4 hours. And that's not the hour that we were not recording.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, 1985, there was a movie adaptation of The Color Purple. It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It has a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. Not surprised about that. It stars Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey, and Danny Glover. Also, it was Oprah's first acting role. Yeah, which I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could have been definitely a better Sophia. Sorry, Oprah, but you could have been.
Yeah. I actually was not impressed with
She was
the
not the
casting.
Sophia for me.
To me, there were only 2 people that were cast that I was like, yep, on point. And that was Whoopi Goldberg, who did a great job.
She did great. Yeah.
Yep. And Danny Glover
Yeah.
was so hard for me to hate, but he did a great job.
Yeah,
He did do a great job.
Yeah,
He
he did a great
was-
job being a dickhead.
Yep, he was creepy.
Because he played Albert.
Yeah, he played Albert. I really didn't want to hate him because I freaking just adore Danny Glover for whatever weird ass reason. I just think he is such a good actor. And I've never seen him in a role like that. He has a great smile. He's very charming in his way.
Yeah, and then you see him be a creep, and you're like, ew, I don't like that. That makes me feel bad.
Yeah, it was very cringe for me, but he was good at it, and he did great in that role.
And Whoopi did
so good. And I thought it was really cool that she reprised her role in didn't reprise it, but
She made a cameo.
She had a cameo.
Yeah, she did a cameo in 2023. It was cool.
Also, before we get into anything else, Suge Avery in this adaptation, we all did not
Yeah.
like lackluster.
She left a lot
I
to
think
be
the
wanting.
actress's name was actually Margaret Avery.
Avery, yes, yeah, and she was beautiful. She was beautiful, but
she just
She wasn't Suge.
Here's
Yeah.
the thing. Here's the thing. She was very skinny and it seemed like more like the flapper vibe than like what Suge should be. Suge should be some voluptuous person that just like has no
in your face.
And the way that she acted her too, it was very like
stiff.
Not even stiff. It was like
she was
like
meek.
A mouse. Meek.
Yeah, she wasn't as in your face
it was
as
not
she should have been.
She wasn't a strong female role, and that's what we were looking for, and it was so disappointing.
And maybe we
hard.
fucked up because we watched the new version before the original.
I would have preferred to watch the old version first, but even if we would have, I think that we still.
I think we would have been disappointed.
Here's the thing: the older version was a lot more raw in certain aspects, and I appreciate it with that, but in a lot of ways it was just, I don't know, it didn't draw me in as much.
Yeah, it was lacking something.
So here was
it was
my
lacking
thoughts.
a lot of emotion, I think. Before I even read this book, that I knew was that Steven Spielberg was the director, right?
Yep.
And I was browsing through stuff, and this actually gave me, I was like, okay, Steven, okay. Before production, Steven Spielberg felt very insecure about being the director of the film. Spielberg felt that his knowledge of the Deep South was inadequate and that the film should have been directed by someone of color who could have at least related to the struggles faced by many blacks living in the Old South.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as I read that, I'm like, okay, I'm glad that he actually was like, I
Recognized.
should not be directing this, but there's something that happened where he did actually direct it, but I'm glad that he actually has that kind of like
Perception.
perception of it.
Yeah, that's.
There
I'm
were
surprised,
11
actually.
Oscars.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
11 Oscars and 5 Golden Globe nominations, but no wins. So they didn't win anything.
No, that sucks.
Hey everyone, non-drunk Lauren here. Just wanted to jump in real quick and clarify things. I misspoke during the episode. I mentioned that there were no award wins for Golden Globes or Oscars for the 1985 version of The Color Purple. But I was wrong. Whoopi Goldberg actually won a Golden Globe for Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture. So just wanted to give credit where credit is due. Congratulations, Whoopi. You did a great job. And yeah, back to the show.
It's a lot not
And
to win.
overall, yeah, I mean, the movie was good, but like
It was lackluster in a
it was
lot of ways.
lackluster in a lot of ways. I get why people loved it, like in the 80s and stuff. It was breakthrough, but
There was a lot to be desired.
I've definitely seen a lot better adaptations from books.
yeah. Then there was a Broadway production. The initial play ran from 2005 to 2008.
So like on actual Broadway.
On actual Broadway. Actual Broadway. OB. Broadway. They had 11 Tony nominations. And then the revival ran from 2015 to 2017 and won 2 Tony Awards.
So that makes sense. That's probably when I saw it come through the munis.
Yeah. Yes. And then it opened in Chicago in 2007. And then it did 2 national tours with productions in London, South Africa, Brazil, Canada, etc. The 2023 movie adaptation was released on Christmas Day. And the 3 of us went to go see it on, I think it was like the 30th or 31st.
Yeah, it was not too long after Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
I want to say it was the 30th.
Yeah, it was the 30th.
And me
'Cause I had to work the
personally,
next day.
I had no idea that it was a musical. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, when I realized it was, because I love musicals.
I do too. I wasn't excited about this one though because I really didn't understand how they were going to make this happen.
I think that they did pretty good, though.
They did a great
Yeah.
job.
I only
Yeah.
guessed it was a musical by the random ads I had seen on Facebook, which were all the same, which was when they're working on the house that they eventually build and was Sophia
That
and
became the
Harpo's
juke
house
joint.
that
Yeah.
became the juke joint. And that was also one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
That was my
was-
favorite song.
Hell
Yeah.
I
no.
loved when she kicked the fucking door in. I was
Yeah.
like, I've done that.
Yeah, the Hell No song. And then when they're working on the house. And then there was another one that I really liked.
Yeah.
Oh, the one at the very beginning when she sees Olivia as a baby and she's like coming back from town and it's like all the guys, like the chain gang, and then the
That was
walking
amazing.
woman.
Good too.
Yeah, those were my favorite.
Yup,
Yeah.
that was good. I didn't care for Push the Button.
That was funny to me because like as a past life, I used to do burlesque and I actually messaged one of my friends and I was like, please do this as a performance because she is also a black woman who is just gorgeous and she has that big personality and I was like, please do this.
Yeah.
Like you'd be great at it, you know. So
Suge was a lot better.
Okay.
yeah, this should go in the new one.
Hold
was a
on.
lot better.
Hold on.
Okay.
This movie was directed by Blitz
Blitz.
Bazawule.
Okay.
Sure.
Bazawule.
Beelzebub.
Beelzebub?
Bazawu.
Let me see.
I'm sorry. I
Bazawu.
apologize. That's what my brain said.
I apologize
Let me see
too
it.
because I am a drunk ass white woman. I'm sorry.
We
I should
can't-
have researched this. Bazawu, I
can't
think is what it
pronounce
is.
Bazawul.
Bazawu. Bazawu.
Bazo.
You did a great job, whoever you are.
Yule.
He did a great job.
Bazawul.
We fucking
maybe.
can't say her name.
All
I
right.
apologize because we're drunk bitches.
So it was directed by Blitz Bazawul, and it had a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, which
It
is
should
the
be-
same exact rating that the
Honestly, it
last
should be so
one
much
did.
better.
That's
Should be so
interesting.
much
They
It
both
should
had
be better.
7.7.
They did well in different aspects. I
It
think.
stars Fantasia Barrino, Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black,
Great,
Loved her.
Sophia.
She was a great Sophia.
Tarisha P. Henson from
Great
Hidden
Shug.
Figures. She's been a lot. Hidden Figures, Empire, and Hustle and Flow.
Mhm.
And Coleman Domingo.
Now, what's the actress's name who played Sophia again?
Danielle Brooks.
Danielle Brooks.
She did so good.
She did amazing, and it was like she was made for that role.
Dude, she
Yep.
was made for that. Well, okay, so here's the thing.
We were all very
So,
excited when we
both
saw her.
Danielle Brooks and Fantasia Barrino played those characters on Broadway.
Oh,
I did not know that.
Yes.
But yeah,
So that's why those are so good, because it's like
They already had
played
become them.
Celie and Sophia so well. They knew them. They knew them.
Sophia was a very strong character,
Yeah.
and she did an amazing job.
I
Showing
remember
that strength.
when she first appeared on screen, we were all like, "Yes!" They're like, we were
I
so
think we
stoked.
were all like, because I think we all knew she was in it, and we were all, I think, low key.
I didn't know she was.
I didn't
in
know
it.
she was in it. But
Really?
she came out and I was like, wait, who is that? Oh, shit!
I was like,
I knew as soon as she
I was like,
came
girl, I
on
hope she is
screen.
Sophia, and she
Yeah.
was, and I was like,
Yeah,
yes.
the second she walked on screen, I was like, that's Sophia.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, they did an injustice here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, she did an
And-
amazing job.
No,
as
she
Sophia.
definitely. I mean, Fantasia did a great job as Celie too. Like she definitely did.
Mhm.
But Danielle did such a good job as Sophia. And then
Well, Sophia is such a much more dynamic character
Yeah.
too, than Celie. So like, she while she did a great job, like it just doesn't give her the opportunity to really like put a lot of emotion out there.
yeah.
You know? So I
Because
think that's why
Celie's
it's
always a little bit
noticeable.
more restrictive.
Yeah.
She's meek.
Yeah.
She's a very meek character. I think for me, Celie's perception of herself in the book is that she's ugly, and that's how she sees herself through almost the whole thing. But as she gains more and more confidence, I feel like we kind of see that build a little bit into more of a positive feeling about who she is. And I felt like we got to see that through the way she looked in the movie, too.
Mhm.
Like her
Mhm.
outward look, her physical look was like reflective of how she felt inside. And I liked that adaptation in the movie, that we got to see that total change. And that's kind of how people tend to be anyway, is whenever you feel better about yourself, you take more care of yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really cool bit of the movie. And I did appreciate that.
I just think this newer version too is prettier.
It is.
And for me, a movie that always catches my eye, it's going to be something that's pretty, whether it's something from the 60s or current. Like anything that's that pretty will keep my interest probably more than anything else. So, and this one is just, they did it really, really, really pretty. So
They did. The relationship between Celie and Shug was not well done. Like, they didn't make it apparent of what really was going on. I mean, we knew.
They made a dance out of it.
Yeah, they made
Like,
a dance out of it.
Which I thought was okay.
a little weird. And I was like, okay.
I kind of thought that was kind of like
dancing
not
around the subject.
offensive, but I was like, dude, just show them having sex. Like,
I think they were still like, I don't
But
know
here's the
how
thing.
people will take this.
Like, okay, when
kind of
we
thing.
went
It's
to
like,
the theater, when we went to the theater, this is okay. So the book definitely has religious stuff to it, religious connotations. But I think both the movies had way more religious connotations to it.
Oh, they for sure did.
Than the actual book, yeah.
Than the book did. So I think that they were like, oh, we can't show that because it's two women having sex.
Yeah.
We can't show that.
Well,
but we can allude to that and it'll be fine.
Well,
there was like a kiss.
Which is
yeah.
I was like,
yeah, that was a gorgeous scene, them dancing. But like that's not accurate.
For me,
Yeah.
they didn't
That's not
necessarily have to show all of the relationship for me to, but they didn't show enough of the.
they didn't allude to it very well.
They didn't. Like, I remember in the theater, they had the kiss and then they woke up in bed the next day after the dance scene. And I remember there was like a couple people in the theater were like, oh, and I was just like, fucking really?
My favorite part of the movie, though, when we were there and they're having the dinner scene where Celie was like, I'm leaving.
So good.
And she's like, you ain't nothing but dead horses shit. What did the girl in the theater say?
Oh no, that wasn't the thing though. That wasn't the scene that happened with.
I thought it was.
No, Sophia was talking to Harpo's dad and she said, why don't you go hang out with people your own age? You know, like in a graveyard.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And this girl, because Sam and I both heard it, because I was like, this girl behind us goes, oh, I liked that.
Because I was like, oh shit. You know, and I heard somebody else like say something behind us and I was like, what'd she say? And I was just like, oh, I like that.
I liked that.
And I'm just over here like, shit.
It
Like,
was so funny.
so funny.
I was
There
about
was some
doubled over.
point, I don't remember what Sophia said, but there was some point where Sophia said something and Sam just let loose on me and was like, fuck you, fuck you. I don't remember what it was, but we were riling up the crowd, I think. Like, no, the 2023 version, I'm telling you, like,
It was good.
Taraji P. Henson did a great job at Shook.
By
She was
far.
definitely
Oh,
more of
yeah.
that like full-bodied, voluptuous, like curbs for days kind of thing. And not
just attitude,
yeah,
you know?
just the sass. Like it.
And Taraji nailed that. She
Mhm.
fucking nailed that.
She
Like,
did.
she is Shug,
Yep.
I think.
I
No,
felt that
no.
like the casting in the 1985 movie was overall not well done. The casting in the 2023 film was
Superb.
on point.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oscar nominations will not be announced until January 23rd because, as we stated earlier in this episode, we record these episodes way in advance. So by the time this gets, you know,
Out there.
out there, you're gonna know. But at this point, we have no idea. So
Anything could happen.
it is award season right now, people. We have no idea.
Watch
But
the
I know
movies
that
and vote.
at the Golden Globes, they were nominated. I know that Danielle was nominated for something. I think Fantasia was nominated. They didn't win it. But for the Oscars, we have no idea yet. So there was like an HBO special that Oprah put on about The Color Purple, the new one coming out, because she is a producer and all this stuff. So it's kind of like very Oprah, you know. It's like her little documentary kind of thing, where she interviews people and stuff. And there's a part in Oprah and The Color Purple Journey on HBO Max where she's interviewing Danielle. And Danielle says, there's something different how when you are in the heat of Georgia on a plantation with thousands of trees, I kept on thinking about how many of our brothers and sisters who might have been hung on those trees. Oprah says, I think most people don't think about this who are not African American descent. But it is hard to be in Georgia and not look at a tree and think about how many were strange fruit. And the reason why that like resonated with me is because Billie Holiday had a song called Strange Fruit that was all about
Lynching.
And that's what Oprah's
Referring
referencing.
to. Yeah.
And that's what just hit me, because I was like, okay, I have no context of this because I'm a white woman, but whenever she said that, I was like, oh shit, yeah. You know, so that's why, not to end this on a bad note, but I just wanted to like put that out there because I felt like we should put that out there, like in a way of like cultural stuff, you know. It's like,
As being white women, it's not something that we would never normally think about either.
No.
Walking through your neighborhood, seeing a tree, you would never think of it as a lynching tree,
No.
but some people would, and that's fucked up.
That they have to think about it at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think overall, I did enjoy this book. There's a lot of heavy things about it, but also a lot of powerful, uplifting instances where you can like feel the growth of the characters and take some of that from them at the same time and for your own life.
It's beautifully done. Like she wrote this very well. They were the weirdest like family in a way, because they just took care of each other, and it was broken at times and it was really messy sometimes, but all of the characters eventually kind of took care of each other in one way or another and became a very large family, and that was a really beautiful aspect of this book.
It's weird because it's like a religious book, which, you know, what is religion? It's
What you make it.
It's what we make it. It's what we believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you know, I don't even know. So, we all conclude that we like the 2023 version more than the 1985. Hell yeah!
Florence crashed.
I am not. I'm just being me. It's true.
Okay.
Audio engineering, logo creation, and social media content was produced by Lauren Rainey with Rainey Film and Video. Stock music tracks have been provided by Adobe Stock. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Liquor&Literature Podcast, where you can dive into more details about the books, authors, and movies we cover. You can find all of our episodes at liquorliteraturepodcast.podbean.com. Until next time, keep the pages turning and the drinks flowing.